What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the You Know Ball Podcast. I am your host, Trill Bro Dude, and Sam is back from his great adventure, and we are here to discuss what is most important in this world, which is the Wembus. This is Wembus's last stand.
This is like Phoebe Bridgers is playing a $1 Madison Square Garden show before they pull the Wembus out. You can't. A lot of times, I've been accused of listening to Phoebe Bridgers and then pulling my Wembus out. They're going to do it. New York is going to pull their Wembus out right now. Though the Wembus is coming out. Well, I guess the Wembus is coming out in San Antonio. Charles Barkley talks about pulling your Wembus out and how it's difficult in San Antonio.
Sure.
So they're going to have their Wembus out, and then they're going to go back to New York and then have their Wembus out again.
Right. The real boy genius, Wembus.
Yeah, he is the boy genius.
He is the boy genius. He is, it is very funny because I felt like fairly confident in my pick in the OKC Knicks pick that we had before the season and then before the playoffs. And then I forgot about the Wembus of it all, which is that we are kind of in this, and I don't want to discredit the best players on the Knicks and the Thunder, in Shea and Jared McCain and Alex Caruso. Yeah. And no one else. I can't think of anyone else on the Thunder. And Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. But this is a little bit of a throwback in that, like, it's not to say that the Spurs don't have a really good team other than Wemby, but it has felt like recently that teams that have been making runs, teams that have been winning championships, are built on this new model of depth and really good role players that make sense around the star players and versatility and all this stuff. And we haven't had a game-breaking player quite like Wemby carry a team over a team that was projected to win the finals, a team that was going for a repeat. I would say, I guess you could technically say the Jokic run in 2023 was probably the last time that we had a player get that. Because to me, like, don't get me wrong, Halliburton was incredible getting his team to the finals. Luka was the year before. But the teams that have been winning the championships recently have really been these teams that just have so much talent all around the roster and are built similarly to the Knicks. So this is kind of a greatest player, possibly future GOAT versus perfectly constructed roster that has like two offensive engines, all these wings, all of this depth, this versatility. They've been annihilating teams in the Eastern Conference. And I think we saw a little bit of it play out during the OKC Spurs conference finals, which was that when the depth started to go for OKC, the Spurs obviously were healthier, but also, like, outside of the last two games, they were getting destroyed in the non-Wemby minutes. And this truly has been him carrying a good, not great team to the finals. And I think that they're facing at least a great roster in the Knicks in the finals.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to make the joke that, we haven't seen a young player beat the Oklahoma City Thunder on their way to the finals in years. But I mean, I think when we talk about like it is all of those things that you've said, but like also I do think people are kind of like overlooking like some of the Spurs. Because to me, the Spurs are like, their defining characteristic is like being young. Like, as well, like, because like Dylan Harper, I just watched Dylan Harper and I'm like, holy fuck, dude. Like, I know not everyone was as skeptical as like of Dylan Harper as like I was kind of on the lower end of Dylan Harper, but I like never saw like this shit coming from him. I think Castle, like, say what you will about him, but like chaos agent, like he's been already been a lot better than I kind of anticipated him being. He's kind of turned himself into like a real fucking player, and all of these guys are kind of stepping up and they're kind of fearless. And I'm kind of seeing, like, to me, this is going to be kind of like, this is like confidence versus like unshakability. Like, that's kind of the defining thing for me for the Spurs, is how not scared they are at any point in time and how not overwhelmed they get.
They went down 3-2 in a series to a team that had won the title last year. Most young teams in that scenario just fold over.
Yeah, and like and multiple times within games, like where the Oklahoma City had gone on the run a couple of times in Oklahoma City. You're pretty, especially game one in particular is one that I'm thinking of, but like there's been other times where it's like that's how Oklahoma City just wins by 20 in those games, like over and over and over again. And the Spurs would just, for a very young team, just come out and do like an 11-0 run. And I feel like the Knicks are kind of similar to that. In how they kind of like smother you. And a lot of times when the Knicks are winning, they're doing like a very similar thing where they're kind of, because I think the Knicks were like a demon clutch time team last year. And I think they were still pretty good this year, but like they were like lights out last year. And I'm very interested to see how that kind of plays against things here, because I feel like that
that's how
they
the
haven't really been tested. Well,
the cup final was that way. It came down to the wire and the Knicks won. Both of their games have come down to the wire this year with the Knicks winning both. And I do think that the Knicks like this matchup, but these teams are just so different than when they played.
Yeah.
But it's almost, it's very funny because it kind of reminds me of like the Pacers when they flipped the switch both times down the stretch of the last two seasons, where it was like this middling team. They didn't really know who they were. They had all these injuries. Then they got healthy and they clicked at the exact right time. And both of these teams did that. This is like a heavyweight matchup in terms of when they played each other early in this season. Like if you watch highlights from the NBA Cup, it's literally Harrison Barnes starting for the Spurs still before they made the switch to Champagny. Dylan Harper was more of an afterthought because he's a rookie. He's barely even playing at that point. And then on the Knicks side, you have guys like Mohamed Diawara and Tyler Kolek was big in that final in the Cup game. And neither of those guys are in the Knicks rotation, but they found other guys on the roster like Landry Shamet to fill in those roles and play extremely well for them in the playoffs. Now, obviously, the Spurs had a much harder road to the finals than the Knicks did. And I don't even think that's necessarily an East versus West thing. I think that's more just how the board broke and the fact that they played a finals quality opponent in the Western Conference Finals versus the way that the board broke for you had the Gas Sixers, who they completely destroyed and took care of business within the second round with a banged up Embiid. And then the Cavs, who had a chance to win game one, they blew game one in dramatic fashion. And then the Knicks just were like, we're not losing another game in this series. We are clearly the better team.
Yeah, the Cavs loser DNA jumped out in that one.
It's really funny.
Kind of crazy they won the Pistons series, to be totally honest. It's like, I'm kind of surprised they won that. Like,
kind of similar. I want to say in a different way, because OKC had injuries. Like OKC is different in that they lost J-Dub, and he was never available for them. And we both said, like, look, I know that the nerds love to point out, well, if you look at the on-offs, I'm like, they need J-Dub to win the finals. Like, your ceiling is just lower when you're putting everyone up one spot on the responsibility poll. And and Chet showed he had zero shot to be the second best player in that series. And then you're relying on Alex Caruso, Casey Wallace.
He's an all-NBA player.
All right, you can do your victory lap.
Hey, he's an all-NBA player. I don't know. I felt kind of bad because everyone then like jumped on Chet afterwards. This is the thing. Like, you're setting him up for failure. He's a good player. Like, would we be clowning Derek White for having like 4 points in the fight? Like, that would be a bad game for him, but like it wouldn't jump out the same way. This is what I'm saying. Everyone is wrong about Chet, and it's not Chet's fault. Like, everyone thinks he's better than he is, and he's not. And like, he's he's an elite defensive player who should be first team All NBA. Like, that is true. And then everyone just what? Yeah,
for
sorry,
defense.
What did I say? All NBA.
You said All NBA. Yeah.
Okay,
Sam, if you guys want to cut that, if you want to cut that, Sam says that Chet Holmgren should be first team. Top 5 player Chet Holmgren.
Anyway, top 5 player Chet Holmgren.
Yeah, the best Chet H in the country that talks that way.
Well, and they did this with J-Dub last year, and it's like, but the thing is, everybody knows SGA is the MVP. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's the crazy thing, is everyone wants to like give the Thunder like more credit than they like deserve, like because they won the title and everything, and they almost kind of minimize SGA. And it's like, well, the Thunder are a great team because they have the fucking MVP. That's like the end of the story. Yeah,
I think it's more that it feels, and I said this earlier in the playoffs, where I was like, I know they're winning these games, but watch the games, they don't feel overwhelming in a way that a team that wins the championship does. And they could have won games. That's but my whole thing at the time was like, they don't have J-Dub, and like that is a factor in this. And AJ Mitchell and Jared McCain and all those guys are great, but they're also not going to be second options on championship teams this year. Like that's not going to happen. You have to have a plethora of second guys that you can go to, because eventually you're going to run into a team that has the ability to keep up with you. And if it wasn't the Spurs in this round, it would have been the Knicks in the next round. And the long and short of this that I want to get at here is that, like, I think they've done a great job. And I tweeted this kind of in the midst of the game the game 7, which was, it's kind of crazy that they built most of their team out of guards and they only have 2 players that can dribble, one being Shea, one being AJ Mitchell. AJ Mitchell's out. They really only have one guy that can dribble against a set defense. Now look, occasionally Cason Wallace and Jared McCain can run some actions, but like, if you were relying on that in the Western Conference Finals, it's just going to be a tough uphill battle. And Wemby is the ultimate neutralizer for this number 1 Shea-led offense that's going to live in the mid-range and is going to be reliant on, drawing fouls, and it's going to be reliant on spot-up shooting. That I do think that the Knicks present a different kind of element of offense that is something that is the Spurs haven't seen so far in the playoffs, which is that they have multiple guys that can run an offense. And then they also have a center who can space the floor, a guard who loves to live in the mid-range, but is not going to be limited to just that. And then on top of that, they have wings that, if you're forcing them into the mid-range, they can make those shots. They can get you in rotation. They can get open threes. And honestly, the only thing that's going to take down Wemby, which you saw in the OKC series, is a team shooting way above their head, which the Knicks have been doing for 3 weeks now. So my long and short of this is that if you're going to have an antidote to what the Spurs are going to do, it probably looks something like this Knicks team. Having said that, on the flip side of this, I'm just like, I do think the Knicks have really focused in on attacking weak points of other teams. And the Sixers series, for example, like we talked about, like how this, once it was just Maxey and Paul George, like they just really did not have anything in terms of being able to generate offense and get it out of the mud. And then on the other side, they were attacking the Sixers' weaker defenders, particularly Joel Embiid, in the pick and roll and the 2-man game, when he didn't have, the juice to play through that full series. And then in the next round, they're attacking the Cavs' weaker defenders, their lack of size, all of that. The Spurs have a few weak points that I think that you can hit at with De'Aaron Fox on defense, and especially because I don't think he's 100% right now. Like it's weird because he's kind of essential to their team, because we just talked about the J-Dub AJ Mitchell thing. It's similar with the Castle thing, where it's like Castle needs to be constrained to third option.
You can't get him the 10 over. Yeah.
I was shocked that they trust him down the stretch of that game, because I was like, the only way OKC can get back into this game is if you're turning the ball over, and giving Castle the ball in this, like, it worked out, but man, it got close there a few times that I was like, this is crazy. And I do think that Castle is really good as that glue guy. We talked about him as like a supercharged Josh Hart type. Funny enough, they're playing the Knicks in the finals. But the thing that I wanted to get at here is, like, they have ways that they can attack some of the the Spurs' lack of real size and forward size players, I think, that they absolutely can go at. But they haven't faced a team quite like the Spurs in the playoffs that have one of the greatest rim protectors in the history of the NBA, one of the greatest paint protectors, if not the greatest already, in Wemby, combined with the fact that if you flip it on its head, the downhill attackers from the Spurs, combined with, very similarly the Knicks, a big who can space the floor and a bunch of wings that can shoot. Like, it's a fairly even match in a way that I felt like, if I was ready when I thought OKC was going to win the series, to be like, I actually think this is going to be Pistons Lakers in 2004 4 where everyone takes OKC and the Knicks just annihilate them.
Yeah, I think the Knicks were going to kill the Thunder. Like,
yeah,
I
felt very strongly about that. Just because of where the Thunder were at in their availability and how they've kind of struggled.
If they were healthy, it would have been like we saw.
Much closer,
those two teams played each other pretty well during the regular season, and we talked about how that's different and everything like that.
But the one thing I just want to say, the only times that the Knicks even look remotely vulnerable in these playoffs, which has not been many times, the CJ McCollum games early in the playoffs where he was going off, combined with it was game 2 of the Sixers series when Maxey was going off, and then game 1 of the Cavs series, which they won both of those games, but Donovan Mitchell was going crazy in that game as well. And it was the first time that I felt like here's a weakness you could attack. Guys that can get downhill, guys that can take advantage of the fact that Cat is not a rim protector, and the fact that, like, over the course of a series, if you have someone like that, they might be able to exploit some of the stuff that these other teams just did not have the talent, that the Spurs do have the talent, I think, to be able to exploit some of that. I ultimately think that the Knicks' offensive firepower right now, if they just continue to shoot the way they do, they're not losing to anyone. But I do think that this will be a much more evenly matched series, just because they do have a little bit of a counter with the down. Like, this needs to be a big De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper series. Both of those guys need to. I think it needs to be both of those guys constantly attacking, getting downhill. I think you need to limit Castle's role to what he was doing when those guys were healthy, and I think it's going to be huge for really just proving that they have the ability to expose basically the lone weakness that they have, because I think they're going to put OG on Wemby a lot. And I think if they don't have OG, if you put Wemby outside of the paint, they're going to have ways to get downhill. And that's really the only weakness that this Knicks team has shown in the playoffs. And I ultimately think I am going to take Knicks in 6, to be honest with you. Like, I've kind of been leaning Knicks ever since they eviscerated the Sixers in game 1, to be honest with you. But I think that this could easily go 7. And if it goes 7, you're gonna have a hard time picking against Wemby at home in a game 7 if he's playing the way that he's played in these playoffs.
I'm kind of surprised how many people are picking the Knicks. Knicks fans are doing their thing where, like, they show that the ESPN mouth breathers like pick like 7 of the 7 of 11 of them picking the Spurs. Like, see, we're the underdogs. Yeah, the Knicks are the underdogs here. Like,
I was surprised that the line wasn't more even. That was the thing that I was surprised by.
Well, yeah, but ESPN always, I don't know. I feel like
ESPN. No, I'm saying the betting lines. I don't, not the people picking. Lines? The Spurs are favored by they're like plus 200, I think. Or hold on, the Knicks are plus 200, I think, or they were. I think that I think the money has come in on the other side a little bit, so that it's kind of swayed back in the direction of being closer. But I'm pretty sure when it opened, the Spurs were like not massive favorites, but they were the favorites.
Maybe I just have a ton of like Knicks fan followers, because I was just seeing a ton of people like picking like Knicks in 6, and I'm like, I don't know. I was so impressed by the Spurs team, and not that I'm not impressed by the Knicks. I mean, my thing, and I was saying this in one of our chats earlier, I just don't know.
Yeah,
I know the Knicks are very good. I don't know how. I don't know. I haven't seen them play a contender. The Celtics got kamikazed by the Sixers and also sucked ass and died. And then the Sixers fell apart. And then
there was no team in this East that was gonna even. I think the best case scenario for a team in the East was what the Hawks did in the first round.
I mean, if they were shooting, if the Knicks are going to shoot like this is like.
But also, they're just. I just think that they proved to be a much more playoff resilient team against these other East teams.
But like this is who the Knicks have been for like 2. Do we think the Knicks are that much different? Like, they're just.
Oh, I have a fun fact for you. Actually, you say that.
Go ahead.
Well, I will say this, and I was skeptical of firing Tibbs. I thought that
definitely was. Yeah.
I mean, we both were like, he got you to the conference finals. If Aaron Nesmith doesn't turn into Klay Thompson and Steph Curry for 2 minutes, you're playing in a game 7 to go to the finals.
Yeah.
But the thing that Knicks fans have brought up, and the thing that we have seen with this team, is that Tibbs, and I think that Nick Nurse is like this too, where if you really don't have a roster of guys that they like, they're just going to play 7 guys, and no one can win in the modern NBA when you're playing 7 guys the whole season and you're playing your best players 45 minutes a game. And yes, you want to get to the finals and do that, fine. But I think that the difference between what Mike Brown has done is the fact that Mike Brown has shown we're going to trust Landry Shamet. Like, we're going to trust some of these guys that were on the fringes of the rotation to be. Now, of course, they played, like, Landry Shamet missed 1-3 in the Eastern Conference Finals, but they all have fresher legs. And I think that has been the difference with this Knicks team and the gear that they can reach, other than the fact that, like, they have the Karl-Anthony Towns-centric offense that they can go to, and Mikal and OG are shooting like crazy right now. But I do think that the one major difference is the versatility of what they can do with their looks, with their offense, combined with the fact that, like, they're not literally the players were saying last year, like, can we please play less minutes? And Tibbs was like, no. And that is the difference between last year's team and the year before, when OG got hurt. Everyone got hurt in that series. Josh Hart got hurt. Yeah. Like they basically, now some of that is just bad luck. Sometimes it doesn't matter minutes, but other parts of that is that Tibbs tends to run guys into the ground over the course of a season, over the course of the playoffs. And they figured out a way to peak at the right time this year by playing I just talked about with the Cup game. Like, I will say the one thing that Nurse did better this year for the Sixers was that, like, he proved he was willing to go deep into his bench to get to the playoffs. But, like, the Knicks were playing 2 guys that are not even in their rotation in the Cup finals, and then figured out 2 other guys that fit better by the time the playoffs came around, and added more depth at the deadline with Jose Alvarado. Like, they just, and they Sohan hasn't worked out, but they basically realized
NBA champion Jeremy Sohan.
No matter what. No matter what happens, he's the true winner of all of this. So the long and short that I want to get at here, I don't think that they're that much different from a roster talent standpoint, but I do think that advantage of them saying we have 15 guys, we need to use all of them, combined with the fact that Mike Brown's offense has been kind of demonic in these playoffs.
I'm not. None of this is like Knicks disrespect. I'm kind of floored that nobody's like, it just kind of seems like nobody's like as impressed as I am, like, with the Spurs. Because even if the Thunder were like hurt and like a little shaky, that's an NBA champion and that's an MVP. And like, they're still demons, dude. Like, that is such an impressive thing to like win that. I don't see, I just have a hard time seeing the Spurs like, you've got to like really, really dominate to beat the Spurs. And I don't know how the Knicks dominate if they're not hitting all their shots. Like, they're good, but they're not like oppressive in the same way that, like, the way the Knicks smother you is by like Mikal is hitting, like they just go unconscious. Like they just start playing magnet ball, which is like great. And they have the 2 offensive engines to do that. I think if Wemby is just annihilating like the front court, I just feel like this is going to be like a really good series, and there's going to be a lot of like chess moves. I think this is one of these series that I think is really going to come down to coaching too, because and making adjustments. Because I think that a lot of these teams have a lot of weird little like levers to pull on the front. It's ironic that both of these teams, their weakness is like the backup center position. And like, if their big men get in trouble is kind of like the scary thing for both of them.
Well, we don't know what's happening with Mitchell Robinson. I mean, he
got off the bus today. It seems like he's going to play to me.
I'm aware that he's playing. I'm just saying I in Street Clothes posted that surgery that he had, guys usually miss like a month and a half with that. It's not like one of those ones that's like, oh, like he can play through it. Yes, absolutely. He also is going to have a hard time gripping a basketball. And one of the things that he's really good at is rebounding. And obviously it doesn't matter as much but it does matter for catching lobs. It does matter for rebounding. And I do think that is something
for Cat and being the rim protector for a team that likes to attack the rim, and what that means for like foul trouble and stuff like that. This is like a uniquely scary situation. Cat's going to have to be really smart because he's going to be very fucking important for this Knicks team.
So the other part of this is the hack a Mitch thing, where it's like Mitch was already a bad free throw shooter. Is he just going to shoot with one? I mean, it doesn't matter, but he's shooting with basically one hand or 9 fingers in order to.
What if he just turned into Steph Curry? Once the
that would be very funny if it was holding him back. The pinky was just like he just like ripped the pinky off. And just, like,
I don't need it. He dropped it like Rock Lee in Naruto. His pinky just weighs like 3 tons.
Well, JJ Redick slandered Jared Vanderbilt. He's like, "What? It's not like he shoots anyway. He's not handling the ball. He can play with a broken finger. Come on." Like, it does feel a little bit like that, but another part of the and by the way, Mitchell Robinson has actually been playing the least amount of minutes. We talked about this. Like, he was massive to their previous playoff runs. He hasn't been as massive for this one, but in this matchup, he does feel particularly important, not just because if Cat gets in foul trouble, but because his strength has given Wemby issues in the past. Like, to have OG and him is like, those are two of the best potential. I don't think there's such thing as a true Wemby stopper. Because I think Wemby's impact is more on defense than it is on offense.
That's what
and also the threat of Wemby being on the floor is more of a threat than him dropping 35 points in a big game.
Well, and it's not like the Spurs, like, obviously the Spurs like needed Wemby, but it's not like a lot of the Spurs offensive, it's not like a lot of that Thunder series was like hinged on like these Wemby offensive productions. It was kind of Wemby taking what the Thunder got him. He would get hot during like
but remember game one where it was literally that strategy was in the back of their mind the whole time. Like, we have to keep Wemby out of the paint because they were just like, we're just going to throw it up towards the basket and Wemby will catch it and put it in. Like, that has to be in the front of your mind, because they are willing to go to that. Now, I do think that the Knicks have some more big bodies they can throw at Wemby, and I think that they will try to gas him out like the Thunder did a few times in that series, and that was the games they were able to get it over the line. Like, Tim Legler talked about this. He's like, he basically said the thing that separates Wemby from the top offensive players in the NBA, because he's like, he's one of the greatest players in the world already. He's already, defensively just out of this world. But the thing that separates him is that all of those guys can get to their spots, and all of those guys can, run your offense to an extent. And Wemby, because of his build and, kind of just the way that he is, it's harder for him to do that. But the threat of Wemby being on the court as a stretch threat, as a roll threat, as someone who can kind of just dominate by just merely being on the court, I do think that that's something that will be in the mind of the Knicks. I'm just like you might have saw this DM that I sent earlier in the chat, but the Knicks, now they haven't played the greatest opponents for the last few years in the playoffs, but they played some pretty good teams.
They played some good teams.
Yeah. And they
played the Celtics, and beat us pretty bad. Like,
they are okay. So against the Pacers, because they've lost to the Pacers twice. Yeah. Pacers obviously were not in the picture this year.
Yeah.
They are 5-8 in the games against the Pacers in the last 2 years. Against everyone else, they are 24-8.
Yeah.
So I've been saying for a few years, like, I kind of think they're playoff risers. I kind of think that they actually do play better than they do in the regular season.
Yeah.
And I also think that when everyone's healthy, they have another gear that they can reach, that the Spurs obviously haven't had to go to that a ton, because like the Minnesota was banged up. It was really, they put all of their energy and their focus on that OKC series. And ultimately they won a game 7 on the road. They were down 3-2. They came back. You have to give them their respect. To me, I'm just thinking, I think that this has kind of been a culmination of the last few years for the Knicks to get here. And now maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the narrative flips. And as long as you have, maybe the greatest 22-year-old we've ever, if they win the finals, there's a few narratives here. It's like, if the Spurs win the finals, Wemby's the greatest 22-year-old ever. He'll be the first guy probably since Magic Johnson that has won the title this early in his career. And by the way, Magic Johnson had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on that team, even though we did close out the finals without him in his, I think it was his age 21 season, if I remember correctly. But he's the best 22-year-old since LeBron. When he was 22 when they got to the finals against the Spurs and got swept. I don't think it's going to be like that. Like I said, I think the Knicks win in 6, but I do think that will obviously be a narrative that comes out of this. I think 2 major trades that were, I wouldn't say that the Fox trade was heavily criticized as the Bridges trade, But I do think that both of those trades will be, I think they're justified kind of either way, because even
now, I mean, both teams.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If you make the finals, it justifies whatever. And I like the Fox trade. I didn't like the Fox extension. I still think that could play out here over the next months or years or whatever. Yeah. But ultimately, they needed Fox to get over the line because what we discussed earlier, Dylan Harper's been amazing in these playoffs. He's still a rookie. He didn't shoot more than 10 times in the last 5 games of that OKC series. And they needed, even with Fox not being super efficient, like they needed someone to just cut down on the turnovers so OKC couldn't run. They needed basically just an adult point guard in the room, which is very funny to say about De'Aaron Fox, who has not historically been that, but kind of proved to be that for them in that series. And then
by virtue of not being Steph Castle,
exactly,
the Karis LeVert wheel of
addicted to turning the ball over. And then the Knicks side, we talked about this. It's like it justifies the Bridges trade, it justifies firing Tibbs, and then on top of that, Jalen Brunson. Like I said this earlier, like I don't think that he will ever necessarily have the resume of the earlier Knicks greats that have, were kind of before our time. But I do think that he will be the quintessential Knick in terms of, like, I talked about, like, Iverson isn't as good as Dr. J or Moses Malone. But when you think about the Sixers, you think about Allen Iverson. Yeah. And I kind of think that way with Brunson. There are a few guys like this where it's like, Lowry didn't peak as high as Kawhi did in his one season with the Raptors, but you think of the Raptors, you think of Lowry. Brunson will be that way for the Knicks. He turned everything around, and it's 4 years later. They're in the finals. They've made another conference finals. They could win the title. Yeah. It is crazy to think that signing could end up swinging so much over the course of a decade in the NBA.
It's really rare that you see a guy, because we talk about guys being your guys, okay? And like guys who are drafted, that's a great way to become a your guy, right? Like that's how almost everyone is. It's like, this is the guy, he's homegrown, he's been with us forever, we watched him grow up, everything like that. Brunson is a much rarer thing, which is I'm going to bet on myself, and I'm going to pick here to bet on myself. And he did. And when guys usually do that, they're usually like about the same. Maybe they get like a little bit better. To like genuinely transform your career in a place that was so starved for success, the way that the Knicks were. Like we've come a long way since being excited about a Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire team. Like that's the thing that everyone like. It's really exciting for like Knicks fans who really have not had like a realistic team that is good in our entire lives. I know that Knicks team was a doozy. They were dog shit. I'm sorry. Like that's not that was like made up. Like,
this is what it looks. They know this is what it looks like.
This is the first time they've had a real team that could like really win the championship. Because I if the Knicks, people might try to like asterisk this. If the Knicks win this is like a very impressive, very legitimate championship. Like in a very like special way. It's honestly like it's reminiscent of the 2004 Celtics in a little bit, but they have a much more legitimate finals opponent. Like sure. if you beat Wemby, who beat the Thunder, like I think that's more legit. And like I just think that Brunson kind of catalyzing this, I think that's important. The distinction and kind of what makes him like the extra New York guy is he chose to come here and then went up a level for a team that is like that desperate, and like,
and honestly, I've talked about this, like it might be something about the initials JB with Jimmy Butler and then Jalen Brunson. Like people will be, whenever you see like the rankings of players, like Jalen Brunson's, in my opinion, always is a little bit low for where I think his standing is in the league. But when it comes to playoff time, like there are not 5 guys better in the NBA that you want on your side.
I mean, Knicks fans do kind of turn on him a little bit when the things aren't going well. Like,
sure.
In that Hawks series, there was a couple Jalen Brunson,
and ultimately, he's got them over the finish line so many times in these series, in these games, and then combine that with the factor of he was willing to change his game in a way that, by the way, say what you will, most players with his resume and his stats just don't do. Like he changed his game and it made him and the team more deadly. And now they have different looks that they can throw that are harder to prepare for than just Jalen Brunson hero ball, which, by the way, they can still fall back on that like they did in game 1 of the Cavs series, when he's still one of the best one-on-one players in the NBA when you give him the chance to do it. So, like, I have another thing just real quick, because obviously I think that Brunson will be the kind of the shining hero of this if they win it all, for Knicks fans and for the city of New York in general. But I have another wrinkle that I didn't really think about. If they win this and they get over and Karl Anthony Towns is the finals MVP, is he the best number 1 overall pick from that decade? It's the debate,
pretty close.
It's him, Kyrie, and Anthony Davis are the debate. And ultimately,
finals MVP.
Well, this is the reason I ask it, because someone said, like, they said, like, there's only been like a handful of, in the last 25 years, there's only been like a handful of number 1 overall picks who have won more playoff games than Karl Anthony Towns. And it's like the greatest, like LeBron James. And and I do think that when it comes to the draft, and obviously it's impossible to, just become the greatest shooting big man of all time. But I do think that, like, Towns was projected to be a shooter eventually. In college, I go back occasionally, I look at his college stats and watch some of his college highlights, and I'm like, I always forget that he was like, he's become a decent defender, like better than he was a few years ago. But like, he was projected to be this two-way big in the Anthony Davis mold.
That's what I'm saying. That was what everybody was comparing him to, was Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis had just come out the year before.
Right.
And he looked like not as good, but like pretty similar. Like,
one and probably will have one of the weirder careers in terms of how much he was slandered, how much people thought he was a loser before, the Jimmy Butler thing and the Anthony Edwards.
How about this for career? Like, there's a chance, like, if the Knicks get a title and they sustain a little bit more success, he's starting to have a real whose career would you rather have, Karl Anthony Towns or Anthony Davis? Karl Anthony Towns has been deeper in the playoffs more often than Anthony Davis has.
Yeah, I mean, look, Anthony Davis ultimately, both of them are going to be, because the argument between those two, because I think those two are ultimately, now Kyrie obviously was the number 2 on multiple different finals teams, is still one of the 150 best players of all time. Fantastic talent. No one takes anything away from Kyrie, but in terms of reaching the peaks that those two did, I think that those two probably peak a little bit higher in terms of, like, I just talked about the fact that they have 2 number 1 options. Like, they've been running their offense through Cat. Like, Kyrie, even at his best, you couldn't run the offense through him. He always had to be kind of that second option. And if they do this and Cat wins the finals MVP on the strength of, this near Jokic level of production on offense, then I think that you need to, and like, they're both technically going to be like the second fiddles on their team, but the impact is going to be drastic in comparison to most second fiddles, right? Like Anthony Davis with the two-way production, and Karl Anthony Towns with this kind of reinvention of his game, becoming a better defender, combined with the offensive engine stuff that he's shown. Even when Brunson goes to the bench, he's carrying these teams in a way that not a lot of second options have been able to do throughout the course of NBA history. So it's going to be an interesting debate. I do think that all of these players got drafted to dog shit teams. And they kind of had to get it out of the mud for the first few years of their career. And they were, obviously, like, I think Anthony Davis was the highest floor raiser of all these guys early in his career because the defense was just so impactful. But they all ended up finding their way to teams that kind of fit exactly what they needed to be that second option, sometimes first option. There's an argument that Anthony Davis, the year they won the title, was a top 5 player in the NBA. I think there's a good argument that Towns has been one of the top 5 players in these playoffs, top 10 player this season. And then same with Kyrie when he was with LeBron, less so when he was with Luka, but kind of an unk still got it in his late 20s, early 30s. To do that with Luka, to be a second option for 2 different guys. Karl Anthony Towns was the same way. Anthony Davis, because the injuries, really only got that chance with LeBron, and it was such a brief window because of the way that the Lakers went about it, and just his injury stuff in general. It kind of derailed everything. But the resumes, like, Karl Anthony Towns has went from like if you had told me 3 years ago Karl-Anthony Towns would be a undeniable first ballot Hall of Famer, I would be kind of surprised. Like I would be like, definitely. I thought he was going to be like a Blake Griffin, like a heavily contested fringe guy that is like, should John Wall get in? Should, like these number 1 overall picks that don't necessarily reach the heights that he's reached. He's made 3 straight conference finals. Now he's in the finals. And it's kind of been incredible to watch for a player who had the reputation of a loser, to be honest with you, 3 years ago.
I mean, he was the cat disaster wheel. He would like dominate. I mean, he was still doing that earlier in this playoffs, where like he'll just play the worst half of basketball you've ever seen in your entire life, and then be the best player in the world for the second half.
People have pointed this out. If you want to put Wemby on Josh Hart and challenge him to shoot like they did during the OKC series, that's a big swing factor in this series. Yeah. The other big swing factor is who are they putting on Karl-Anthony Towns? Julian Champagnie, Steph Castle, like who?
Got to be someone strong. It's got to be whoever is their strongest defender. Which I guess is probably Champagnie. Like, and
they don't. That's the thing is they don't have an OG Anunoby. Yeah. They don't have a true 4 that is theoretically in a matchup like this can kind of be put on another center.
Johnson, maybe like
they'll probably. I guess they'll try a little bit of everything. Is my guess. Yeah. I would be petrified to put someone like Keldon Johnson on him, only because even though Keldon is strong, like you put him in the 2-man game, he's just going to make mistakes over and over again. So
he sure will.
Yeah, I mean, I was like halfway through the OKC series, I was like, this is a dynasty starts after you player.
Yeah,
and he played well in the final game. Like
he redeemed himself.
Yeah.
But he definitely is one of the disaster waiting to happen kind of guys, But then, to your point, like he's kind of like their Grant Williams, you know what I'm saying? Where he's like strong and like, but there's he's kind of really only good for like 1 game. Like, and the other 6 are going to be
an adventure,
like, but here's the thing though. Like, I also do think the Knicks have been operating on like such high cylinders. I mean, I agree with this. If the Knicks continue to shoot the way that they've been shooting, they will win the title
in 5 games.
Yeah, like that just will happen. I think
it's funny because they
will come back down to. I assume that will come back down to earth a little bit, but
them taking care of business so thoroughly in the Eastern Conference really benefited them in the first few rounds.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of the opposite now for me, where I'm like, if they come out cold in the first 2 games, I'm like, man, it would have been nice for them not to have a massive break in between, because you just get into that rhythm in terms of they were just clicking on all cylinders.
Everyone was like, oh my god, like the Thunder, they're gonna have they've swept and the Spurs are playing 7 games. I'm like, yeah, but it's the finals. Like once the finals start happening, you get a billion days off in between.
Yeah,
like, basically
exactly.
A free thing.
2 days off in between every single game. It's 2.5, 3 weeks long, and then finally we'll get to the thing that truly matters, which is draft season. Okay, so real quick on OKC.
Yeah,
I'm actually kind of surprised that I feel like I'm being level-headed about this, and that every other podcast was being incredibly reactionary and
like want to blow the fucking thing up like immediately. Like, I'm like, I don't know, like if you've already done that. I mean, I kept making the joke that like Sam Presti was like too much of a pussy to fucking like ever make a trade that like mattered, and I still feel that way. But like, you also won like 65 games and just had like 2 pretty important players get hurt. Like, at the last,
you had the best 3 regular seasons combined with going to 7 in the Western Conference Finals and winning the finals in that run.
Like the Spurs blew your doors off. I mean, yes, I know the Spurs beat them like 8 times or something like that over the last year.
Number, like, I mean, it's kind of reminiscent of what we were talking about with the Pacers and the Knicks. No, this season, like, I think in this matchup, like, they need to come up with alternatives to combat the Spurs. I'm not saying that. But also, did we not also just go through, like, will Wemby be healthy enough to get through the playoff?
Yeah.
Like there's so many things that can reverse the other way that I would not overreact to. Like, I would not panic trade Chet. I would not go out of my way to, like, make all these massive moves and get rid of a bunch of guys. I would just kind of, like, draft the guys I'm going to draft, and then if there are available trades that make me better, I would make them. Like,
well, this is what I was saying. Like, I would only do it if, like, I'm going somebody like I was making fun of them for like not doing the honest thing, because I just think that immediately makes them like a levitating above everybody else talent.
I think it makes you consider that more for sure.
Yeah, it does make you consider that more. But like I'm seeing shit like, oh, I'm gonna trade. We're gonna trade Chet for Evan Mobley, and I'm like, he ain't do nothing but step back from the camera.
Yeah,
like, that doesn't do anything. Like I don't know.
Like Mobley probably would have been better than Chet in this series, but it's not like
I don't know that he would have. Like it's
the only thing I will say.
Like
I've always been a little bit higher on Chet than you.
Yeah.
The two things that scare me is that like Chet's value really in the playoffs was that he could shoot, and now he just like his release is so slow that it constantly gets blocked and contested. He's not making those threes at the same rate he did earlier in his career. And like, I always projected that for him to be like a thing he could always fall back on, even if all the other stuff didn't work out. And then like, I do genuinely think him breaking his hip, like kind of fuck with him a little bit, not just from, I'm going Bill here a little bit, not just from like a injury standpoint, but from like if I'm driving to the basket and it's heavily contested kind of thing, I'm going to be more passive about like every time he gets the ball on the perimeter and it looks like in the past, he would have just drove, not even thought about it, dunked, laid it in. He's one of the best finishers in the NBA. When Wemby was down there and when they were being physical with him, like he would catch pump fake drive and then pass it away. And I was like, there is a little bit of like, you suffer an injury like that early in your career, it might make you a little bit less aggressive. Now, I'm not saying Evan Mobley is the most aggressive guy in the world, but I do think that he showed the ability to score on the interior and be a little bit more aggressive in these playoffs at times in a way that I'm just like, I always kind of just thought Chet was better because I knew he was a reliable three-point shooter and they're very similar players. But if that goes away, like it's definitely closer than I thought. But once again, I would not panic. And like, I would just be like, we're still great. And by the way, we have the 12th and 17th pick in this draft. We could move up and get someone if we really like, if they're like, we need a forward size player.
You could have pick 6 instantly. Like the Nets the Nets would absolutely trade back to 12 and 17 from 6. Like, well, unless they love Nate Hammond so much.
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have said, like, well, they're just leaking that. I'm like, I'm sorry. The people that they're leaking it to are not the influential people. If Sam Vecini was saying this or Wasserman, I would be like, yeah, this might just be a smokescreen, like, whatever. Yeah. I mean, I heard it behind the scenes. It was like, there's no fucking way that this is real. And then the more that we get closer to the draft, I'm like, it kind of lines up with what they did last year.
I had to tell my Nets friend that, and he is apoplectic. Like I told him that before all the news, because it started leaking out like this weekend, but I told like the last couple of days, but I told him like on Saturday, it's kind of looking like Ahmed. And he was like, he thought I was fucking with him. But now that he's like hearing it from like beat reporters, he's like, he is the most down bad anyone's ever been.
Yeah, they're already manufacturing consent for this. And now look, the Jaeger Doman thing last year where like I was like, this is insane to take him at 8. Like it's identical to that. And I know that Jaeger played above what I thought he would play as a rookie, but also the next 3 picks were Colin Murray-Boyles, Kaman Malawach, and Coward, who at least 2 of those 3 looked way better. Yeah. And then one of them, we'll see with Malawach. I don't know, maybe he ends up being a bust, and then they were smart not to take him. Yeah. But you can't do this thing where you just constantly reject whatever happened in college and say, well, we're just going to trust what he did at lower levels. And by the way, it's going to make us look smart if they're not as bad as people think. Like, cause once again, like you just said, like OKC leaked last year, they like Jaeger, and then the Nets panic took him. And then this year, it sounds like they might do the same with Nate Ahmed, but like they're not trading up to 6 to get Nate Ahmed, dude. Like I don't see any team. Honestly, if you told me that Nate Ahmed, like no one took him in this range, I could see them trading back to 17 and getting him.
That's what I'm saying.
Like I would, if they traded back to 12 and then also got like Swain or Merez Johnson or someone at 17, I would be like, that's fine. Like maybe even they get like an extra whatever, a swap or something.
Nate Ahmed will be there at 10.
Yeah,
like most of these picks or like close to it. Like,
yeah, I just don't.
Maybe someone reaches for him at 9. Like, but
I just think that the guards are so strong in this class and that every team that is drafting in that range can theoretically take a guard that like from where the Nets are drafting, that I'm like, unless you think that Nate Ahman is literally what they're putting out there, Kevin Durant, which I just is like insane, then I don't know why you would be so dead set on taking him at 6. And I think that OKC is not a team that's going to be aggressive in consolidating assets for a player if they think they can get a similar quality player at 12.
Let's go through it, dude. Like the Kings are not taking
a cuff.
They're taking a cuff.
Yeah.
The Atlanta is almost
they
certainly
just had Richeche.
Yeah, and they're almost certainly taking a point guard. They're not taking new Richeche.
Yeah.
We've gone on and on about how Dallas needs a guard so badly. They're not getting like Cooper Flag, and they have Najee Marshall. Like, I mean, obviously you don't draft for like fit here, but they're not taking Nate Ahman. So the Bucks
maybe
say the first one that like possibly might do this is the Bucks, and like
I don't think that the Warriors at 11 either. So I'm like, you're literally just staking this on the strength of like the Bucks might take him at 10, maybe. Yeah, and like, I don't know. I think it's horrible process. And I think that I think that Sean Marks is clearly desperate and is like, I need a real upside swing. And he thinks that Ahman has the upside.
This has been a long time. I'm going to officially call it. Rest in peace. Sean Marks might be a good GM.
I told you this 2 years ago.
You told me this like 5 years ago. You told me this like when the podcast started, like when I first came on the podcast. And I've had to run with it. I got really.
I thought he was going to acquit himself. I thought he was going to acquit himself when he traded Mikal Bridges. Yeah. And it's not once again
the Michael Porter Jr. trade. I was like, okay, there's my demon. He's back. Sure. Like but this. He can't draft, man. He needs to hire Troy Weaver. And like they need to lock each other out of the rooms.
Have Marks do the margin moves.
Yeah.
Because he's good at those. That's like the one thing that he's always been pretty decent at.
Yeah.
But the big picture stuff, you need a demon like Troy Weaver in there to be drafting for you. But I mean, we'll see with that, but like if I'm OKC, I'm taking 12 and 17 because I don't think that the quality of prospect is massive between. The one scenario I will say that is different is if they love one of Yaxel or Mara, they're the kind of team that can afford to overpay and be like, here's 12, 17 and the Clipper swap for next year, and we'll go get the guy that we think. Once again, I'm of the mindset that I actually think it's like, we'll talk about this when we do our mock draft in a little bit, but like, I actually think if you're getting into the mindset of like, we're going to get a guy with size that we can throw on Wemby, unless you think Mara is going to be a 3-point shooter, which he really hasn't shown you much to think that he's going to be a 3-point shooter, then I do think that you're better off going with one of these bigger long wings. Because you're going to see in these finals, I think that OG is probably going to be their best chance at keeping him out of the paint. And I think that someone like Yaxel, or if you stay at 12 and 17, Merez is better to take that swing on than someone like Mara in that matchup specifically.
I think they should trade up for. What do you like? I think they should trade up for Yaxel. If
he's the only kind of guy they're missing.
Yeah.
He's literally the guy.
Yeah, like he's ready. He's gonna be ready now. Like
he'll play in the playoffs next year.
Yeah, like he addresses all of your needs. You have a billion guys on the roster. You still haven't solved your roster crunch. So unless they're making a different big move this year, you can't keep those guys. Like who knows? Topic might be good. The guy had like literal fucking cancer. Like like he could like. You have all of these guys who could still be good. Like Jared McCain looked fucking awesome. That's the other thing that's creasy is like, that's the my big takeaway from the playoffs is like, goddamn, like if the Thunder were healthy and they had Jared McCain, like they're still going to be demons.
Or you could do the reverse of that. If they didn't do the Jared McCain trade, they probably would have lost this series in 5, and we would have been like, man, the Spurs are way better than them. And but what I'm trying to say is like, that's the advantage that they have is that they have a pool of guys that they can go to. And I think Yaxel would just be another one where it's like, look, is Yaxel going to be a all NBA player? Probably not. He's older. He's going to be someone who is probably more impactful in their role than they are being, he's not necessarily going to be Dominican LeBron, even though I know that has been his nickname, but he's a big wing /forward. You could put at the 4. and really unlock potentially Chet at the 5 lineups, which I know that he struggles when he plays with another big. And then if Chet sucks, you can bench him and put Hartenstein and Yaxel out there and have a ton of size. Like, Yaxel is a 7'4" wingspan and he's 250 pounds. He can handle the ball. He's a good passer. He can shoot. He's a deep defender.
He discharges J-Dub from like that responsibility too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you give J-Dub the ability to be a little more.
He could be like your wing Alex Caruso, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they would be demons if they would. I don't know. Are we going to allow trades in our like mock draft? Because like
I would say let's just go straight up. Let's just go straight up into it. But once again, I think that just to
put a bow on that if I were the Thunder and the Nets. That makes
I would be more aggressive in trying to do that, especially because the money aspect is like you get another guy on a rookie contract. And by the way, you're getting Yaxel for his prime. I just want to point that out. You're getting a prime NBA player in like immediately, which is unheard of.
Yeah, it just makes so much sense. Like, because like for OKC, you're jumping up like, you know, it's kind of a lot to pay that much, but you're jumping up so far. But like usually when the Nets, if you're dropping back that far, but like Nate Ament is going to be there. If Nate Ament's your guy, you have nothing to fucking lose dropping 6 places. You know, like I don't know.
And if Nate Ament goes, take Dalen Swain. Like, I'm just like, there are other options. Or take a guard. Who gives a fuck? Like,
take Boris Johnson. Take fucking whoever. Like, I don't like. We'll get there. But
yeah. So, just real quickly, the OKC thing. This is my prediction for their offseason.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to get rid of Dort, but McMahon saying that SGA is like his best friend and loves him. I think they'd probably opt out of the Dort deal and bring him back at a smaller number for a few years. They need tradable contracts anyway, so if they have to trade Dort eventually, they can. I think they dump Aaron Wiggins to clear up a roster spot. I think they dump Isaiah Joe to save money and clear up a roster spot. And I think that that's why they traded for Jared McCain, because they were probably projecting for that anyway.
Yeah.
And then I think that they probably let Kenrich Williams walk to clear up another roster spot. They use at least 1, if not 2 draft picks, and then they just kind of run it back, and that's what they should do. Like, that's what they should do. Yeah, like AJ Mitchell, no J-Dub. Like, I think they could easily win the whole thing next year if things break in their direction.
They're still there, you know. Like, I don't like if you can get Giannis. Giannis is the only like needle.
He's the only difference maker that you can go get. Yeah.
Like if you can get Giannis, you've got to like seriously think about it, because just like SGA and Giannis is like special stuff, and you probably with what you're giving up, you would still have a lot of really good players.
Well, we just described with Yaxel, but what if it was the Hall of Fame player? No, he can't shoot so much better.
It would, and like, you know, Giannis, you talk about strong guys giving Wemby issues. Like,
he's been one of the best Wemby defenders in the NBA, and also is one of the few guys that will actually challenge Wemby on the other end.
Yeah.
So. All right.
And like, as we saw, like, that's what you got to worry about if you're the Thunder. You know what I'm saying? Like, because for a while we were like, wow, the Thunder, who are going to do them? And then immediately
we do this every year.
We
do it every year.
You remember at the beginning we were like, yeah, teams never go back to back, and we were like, yeah, it just seems like the Thunder are going to win, but like teams just don't go back to back anymore. And it happened again.
It was such a weird year because of the fact that the Pacers and the Celtics just felt like they were out of it from the jump. Yeah. And then it was like, all right, well, yeah, I picked the Knicks to win the East, but I didn't feel super strong about that. I felt like that was more just like kind of a logical thing to do just by default.
And then they were kind of back in, and instead they choked everyone to death and murdered them.
We like the Spurs, and we were like, we said like Wemby will finish top 3 in MVP. This will be his breakout season. But we haven't seen a first team all NBA player get to the finals since their age 22 season, since LeBron James. So like, I do think that it was realistic to be a little bit skeptical that they could take down the Thunder this early, but they did it. They're ahead of the curve, and this is a house money finals for them, really. But man, if they win this one, it does feel like, I wouldn't say a dark cloud, just because Wemby always has the injury concerns.
Yeah.
But I do think that this is definitely, he's taking this era
it's
into
their biggest
his hands
threat
pretty early.
by far. It's their biggest threat by far. You know, like it seemed like it suddenly seems possible that the Thunder could only win 1 title in this run, which seems kind of crazy with how well they were positioned and everything like that. And I also don't want to make that sound like I don't think that has anything to do with the Thunder necessarily. I think it's just that fucking hard to win in the NBA now. Like
different.
The Thunder have like this perfect fucking team and this like unreal, like they win 65 games and they're always good. And it's just like, this is just kind of what happens in the playoffs now. Like you just get a little bit unlucky once and you're done. Like,
yep. This is Adam Silver's wet dream.
Yeah.
So speaking of,
I do kind of like it. That's the only thing Adam Silver's ever done right.
Yeah,
like,
the play-in in this he cooked, but the thing that he's trying to destroy right now, we're going to get into, which is the draft and the draft lottery. Draft lottery night. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's going to be cinema next year. But let's get into what
we needed something to chase Kings fans away from the NBA.
Yeah, exactly. Just get rid of them once and for all.
Too good for them. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So what I want to do here is I want to do a mock draft. Last time we did a mock draft, we did what we think is going to happen.
Right.
This time it is going to be what we would do, which is obviously going to be different than what we think is going to happen. Yep. We'll do our unhinged mock draft either sometime next week or the following week. We have our big boards coming up, but for right now,
are we snaking it or discussing it?
I say we discuss every pick like we did with the last one. So first pick, I think we both have Boozer first on our board, right?
Yeah. That's who I would pick here. No questions asked, I think.
All right. So he's number 2 on the no ceilings board behind Darren Peterson. One ahead of AJ DeBounce, who is going probably going to end up going second or third in our little mock draft we have here. But the Washington Wizards are selecting Boozer. It does sound like they are considering everyone. I do ultimately think they land on AJ, but I'm more open-minded to the fact that they might take Peterson or Boozer now, specifically Peterson, just based on some stuff that we have heard, not behind the scenes or anything, just things that people have been saying over the last week. I think that Boozer is, we talked about it before, like, and I want to be clear. Though I don't think I made it clear enough on the last podcast. I think that floor and ceiling are a little bit correlated with the top picks in the draft a lot of the times. And every time that we say someone has a high floor, it really means that they actually have an underrated high ceiling. And I didn't make it clear enough that I wasn't drafting him number 1 overall because I think that he is the safest pick. I think that he has the best combination of floor and ceiling, yes. And maybe if Peterson just had a weird year in college, or if AJ, can improve as a defender and kind of hone in on some of the over dribbling and the stuff that, kind of might end up limiting his ceiling as an NBA player, that I do think that both of those realistically, they all have Hall of Fame level ceilings. I think that Boozer is the safest bet just because I think he's going to instantly be good an NBA player. I think he's going to be, if not the number 1 option, an elite number 2 option. And I think that we need to realize that we love every single prospect before the draft. You could go back when we rewatch the 2014 draft, the 2007. There's always things that are unforeseen that can happen with prospects. And I just feel the most comfortable that I think that Boozer's going to be a Hall of Famer. I think he's a 10-time All-Star, if not a 10-time All-NBA player with more potential for potentially MVP level upside. And I think that these other guys, while I think they're also very worthy of going number 1 in an average draft, have question marks that I'm a little bit more concerned about than I am with Boozer. And I think that's ultimately why I would take him with the first pick, even though I think they're all fantastic prospects.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you just said. I think Boozer separated himself a little bit for me. Like I think he's number 1 just because, again, like you said, combination of floor and ceiling. This has always been our like running joke that like you're more of a swing for the fences guy, and I'm a little bit more like I'd like to know what I'm getting. And I think
that's
Boozer
why I flirted with all of these
them.
guys being number 1 for me. Where I'm like I've been set on Boozer since February, but earlier in the season, like I probably had AJ and Peterson number 1 on my board at different times. Like if I made a board that early, I would have had them number 1. Like Peterson early in the season when he destroyed AJ head to head, I was like, I do think that's got to matter a little bit that he's beat him all 5 times when they've went head to head, and he's just absolutely destroyed him.
I was gonna ask when we get to pick 2, like what, because I think I disagree with you here, because I would argue for Peterson here.
So here's the thing: I'm not drafting for fit. I know we talked about that last time.
I'm not either.
But I think that the more I think about it, the more I think AJ and Peterson are similarly tiered prospects.
Yeah.
And I think that if your goal is to win a championship, I think I have an easier time seeing Peterson fit in on a championship team than I do with AJ, because I think he's going to be an elite defender.
Yep.
I think the shooting is out of this world. The shot creation is out of this world.
Yep.
And I think that if he isn't your number one option, there are still pathways for him to be an elite number two. Yep. AJ is boom or bust. AJ is either the best player on your team or he's not what we thought he was. And I think there's a world where AJ is just Tracy McGrady 2.0 or, one of these guys who is just very clearly like a dominant Paul George, different version, obviously. I've heard people say Carmelo Anthony recently. I think some people say it is slander. I don't like Carmelo Anthony's a Hall of Famer. And in any draft, you would be thrilled to get Carmelo Anthony with the third pick in the draft, or second pick, first pick in most drafts. But I'm not going to push back on Peterson at 2 to Utah, because I really do love the fit, and I think they could be good immediately. And I think I think that Darren, I'm buying Darren as a similar tiered prospect, even though I have AJ slightly ahead of him on my board because the highs with AJ are just incredible. Maybe I'm falling for the aura farming in the workout videos that Peterson posted.
Aura farming is at a premium, dude. SGA is MVP. Wemby just made the finals.
The
aura farming matters.
The only reason people don't think that the Knicks can win the finals is because Brunson doesn't aura farm enough.
We need to have Tankathon needs to put that on their thing. Plus aura farming, negative, never aura farms.
By the way, we didn't bring this up during our during of the finals, but have you ever seen the post that says that Jalen Brunson looks like Elliott Smith?
Oh, I haven't seen that. Come on, man.
Dude, they put them side by side, and I was like,
so funny.
It's really not that far off, dude. I've seen the Red Fox comparisons, but the Elliott Smith one was the one that maybe, like I said, we love when we do it with draft stuff. We love a cross-racial comp. It's just very funny when you do the cross-racial doppelganger. But you're now Googling it. You're like, let me.
No, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it will. The other one is the Fiona Apple Ty Dolla Sign thing. Very similar.
My favorite of all time is Chance the Rapper and Jackie Kennedy.
That's another really good one.
that like stopped me in my tracks when I saw that one.
Yeah. This is I think, by the way, if we ever get on Bill's show, that's what he's gonna have us on for, is doing cross-racial celebrity things for like, let it be like Spielberg. Yeah. Just going through.
We have the Ball guys here to discuss cross-racial draft comps.
Go. We'll have House in there. It'll be great.
Darren Peterson's sort of like a supercharged Tyler Hero. I'm not going to push back on this because I do think that I don't really think that you can go wrong with either guy here.
I don't dislike AJ.
I like the two-way upside of Peterson on this team though. I like the fit a lot.
Landing spot for me for a while because I think that would be awesome for them. In a lot of ways. So
all right, so we'll go Peterson 2, and then we'll go AJ 3. Or you want to make a case for Caleb?
No, I don't.
I think to me, a lot of people have asked. Now, is there a world where Caleb gets way better on defense and then it's just like a dominant two-way force, second best player on contending team? Maybe even in some world where he's the best player. Sure, maybe. AJ, the creation stuff is just what separates him from Caleb to me. And I know that there are people out there that prefer the guy that plugs into the role, but AJ is a talent that's worth taking a swing on because the self-creation as a wing is truly something like we haven't seen before. And it's actually very funny because I actually have been saying this whole process, I think that Peterson's more of a wing than a guard. He has a wing build, long arms. I think that he can be a impactful two-way wing at the NBA level. He'll play at the guard spot, he'll play at the 2-guard spot, but I do think that he can reach those heights. I think AJ is the opposite. AJ is a guard in a wing's body. AJ is going to be getting buckets, making plays at an incredible size, but the defensive stuff, not quite as much. I definitely think some of that, and I've talked about I think it's going to be rough at the start for AJ, but he's going to figure it out by the end of his first or second year, and he's going to be an incredible player. And look, the Grizzlies might go the other direction in this, but I think that they'll just take the surefire thing in the lead creator in AJ, and then they'll have Coward, AJ, and Edie as their core moving forward.
Yeah, agreed.
Good decision makers around AJ, a demon screen setter in Edie. I like the offensive fit a lot there. So now Caleb Wilson, no question, number 4 for us.
I don't think. Do we want to rat on Kevin that he was melting down about Wilson's calculator rat numbers?
Look, everyone, which is very funny to me because I'm like, the bell curve meme.
Yeah, with the sage, like this, the simpleton, the sage, and the normal guy. Yeah.
Kevin was in the middle of that today.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
I am like a little bit like, I'm sorry if you're as good as Caleb Wilson was, even with the shooting concerns and even with the defense concerns and even with maybe
watch him
creation. He's a demon, dude. Like,
it is sagehood. That boy, nice. Like, like really, like
he's going to be one of the best open court players in the NBA from day one, which is kind of what you want with this Bulls team that is just searching for talent and an identity. Yeah. He's also someone that's going to be able to jump out of the fucking gym. He was a great self-creator in specific play types. Like, I think AJ is going to be better perimeter in as a player than Caleb, but like Caleb is going to be someone that can dominate on the interior to start. And if he ever can shoot, then the upside is just absolutely shoot from 3, to be clear. He can shoot from mid-range already, but like, if he ever can extend his shot, like he's just going to be a fantastic all-around weapon. And if you need to find guys that, fit with that identity, he's a talent worth betting on. There's no one that's close to him in this tier as a prospect when you get to pick 4. Even though I do like Mikal Brown and his upside, I just think that Caleb's the way safer bet. And also, if he hits, by the way, everyone is looking for this kind of player.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just like, I was doing this thing because I do calculator rat stuff. Then I watch games to like confirm my opinions. I think I told this earlier in the season because I wanted to. I didn't think I was going to like Caleb Wilson based on a statistical profile. I'm like, this is going to be one of the guys I'm fading. I watched 3 games. I was like, no, no, I'm in. This guy is turbo him. Like, there's not like, I'm not like, even if he's not like an all-star, he's going to be like a very good player for a long time.
He outplayed the 2 guys that we took in the first 2 picks in this draft.
Yeah.
And like, once again, that's not everything, but it has to mean something. Like it has to mean something when you're and he's a little bit older than those guys, especially Boozer. But like, it matters when like I'm a little bit more skeptical because I don't think that he has the potential for the high tier self creation that these other guys have.
Sure. I agree. Yeah,
but I think there is a world where he ends up the best player in the draft. Like there is a world that exists where he is. So I feel like the first 3 guys are safer bets.
For sure.
So now we're at pick 5, which is really where the draft starts. What we would do?
Getting weird. I'm gonna start getting weird right off the bat here.
Okay.
Do you want me to just lead with
make your pitch?
I think my less weird pick here would be Mikal Brown Jr.
Sure.
Which,
by the way, that's the guy that I'm really annoyed with because when I put him 5 on my board, he was like projected to go like 10 to 15, and now he's projected to go 5 everywhere, and I'm like, all right, now I look like a fucking conformist.
You have the tape. You have the tape that you were showing.
I was gonna say, run that back.
You run that back. You were early on that.
He also might not go 5. Like, I don't think it's locked that he's going 5.
Honestly, I still think Wagler's going to go here. Like,
it's possible.
I still think Wagler's going to go here just based on what I'm hearing about. Like,
the Wagler Goblin mask has been talking to me in both directions. Like,
I'm out. I wanted to be in, but I'm out.
You are completely justified.
Yeah.
I talked about it on the episode with Slightly Biased last week.
Yeah.
On the Patreon episode where I was just like, the strength concerns, the amount that he attacked college bigs, and like all of the things that I had. But once again, bell curve meme, hyper productive. It is hard for me to fully sell on the guy who led the best college offense as a freshman. They were the number 1 offense in the country. They made the Final 4, and it wasn't always consistent. It wasn't always pretty, and there are flaws in his game for sure. I think that he really is screen dependent in order to beat NBA defenders. He's going to struggle one-on-one. And I definitely think that there's a chance that he just was on a crazy heater for a few months from three that really boosted some of his efficiency numbers and some stuff that will go away at the NBA level. I don't know if he's that elite tier shooter like his numbers would suggest. But I've just been thinking about it more, and the more I'm like, if you're that good as a freshman, and like we've seen players like him before succeed, I don't think it's out of the question. I'm out on the primary upside. I'm out on like he could be SGA or Halliburton or Brunson or any of those guys. But I do think there's a pathway, and I had him lower. I had him like 17 or 18 on my board. Then I moved him back up to the end of my lottery because it was just like, I do think there's a world where he's like in the higher end being Austin Reeves, lower end being like Tyler Hero style player. Yeah, I think you said Jamal Murray was one of the guys that, and we'll get to Dallas in a little bit. That's why I'm starting to come around on the Dallas fit for him.
Yeah, that could be a good fit for him.
Because if he's not the
number one guy,
exactly. If the Clippers draft him, I think it will be a disaster. Because I think the Clippers are going to trade Kawhi, and I think they're going to say, you're the guy. And like, while the Wagler Garland backcourt for the interim could be fun if they don't trade Garland, that is just, they're going to get destroyed on defense. And I think that they'll have to pick between one of those two eventually. And I just, there are very few outcomes where I see him being a much better player than Darius Garland. And that's why I would be scared to make that pick at 5 and just assume that he's going to be my number one guy. If he gets drafted to a team that has Cooper Flagg, completely different scenario.
Yeah. Completely. I think I'm gonna there's like 4 guys I would pick here. Only one of them is on the screen right now. Like I would not, I'm kind of weird in this draft where like after 5, I don't really like
flat for like 13 picks for you.
Yeah. I don't really like, I'm a little bit higher on Mikal Brown Jr. just because like you've talked about before. And I agree with you after like getting a chance to see him a little bit more. I think he's got a little bit more star upside than some of these other guys. Like, and I think
the production wasn't there, but the athleticism, handle, and shooting combination is very intriguing to me. Even if, once again, the decision making and the turnover stuff is a little bit scary.
I'm gonna be honest. So I have AD Mara as an option here.
Sure,
and maybe this is crazy, but I think Dalen Swain and Steinbach are both viable here. I would consider both of them if I were the Clippers. And I get that that's gonna sound like crazy to people and like a massive reach for both of those guys. I kind of like those guys the best.
All right, let's settle. I think we can settle on Mara then, because because to me, you just traded Zubac. Once again, I know that Clippers fans and the Clippers fans in the Discord are like, we might not get a chance to draft at 5 again, and like they want to take the ultimate upside swing, whether it's Wagler or Mikal Brown or any of these guys, Acuff, whoever.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's probably Acuff, and you trade Garland at some point. Then
that's what I was gonna say, but I'm acting as if, and I know that other people are lower on Darius Garland because like, oh, you can't win a championship with what I'm like. How can you look at this Clippers roster and think that they're anywhere close to this Western Conference?
Right, you don't have to worry about that right now.
I actually think that they're never going to be able to pull off the same build that the Knicks were able to, where they just got the perfect build. And Brunson's a better player than Garland, but like
I don't know.
It's
Clippers are pretty good. Like
what I was going to say was that the one time that they've proven to be able to get stars, the 2 times really, is all they had to do was just show some competence. Like all they had to do was be like, let's keep our cap space open. And by the way, funny enough, show confidence, and then they immediately trade SGA with all their picks for Paul George. But that's another conversation. But they're in LA. They can eventually attract free agents. We don't know how teams are going to act with these new aprons. Like they're still like, we might be a year away from Donovan Mitchell being a free agent, or you know what I mean? Like very funny to pair those two together, but you know what I'm saying? Like we might get like in the near future, we might get one of these top 15 players in the NBA reaching free agency. And if that's the case, like having competency and just a good team is not the worst thing in the world if you're in the LA market. And like players want to live in LA. Steve Ballmer will spend the money. Like I actually think taking Mara here isn't crazy.
I would do it. I think that he's a very good player. I think that he
good fit offensively with Garland, and then defensively, I think he'll be a extremely good rim protector.
Has a
great playmaking center, high floor guy. Like, I understand that it might be a little bit stomach turning, but like I don't think this is that crazy. And you know me, I'm usually the take the upside swing guy.
Yeah.
I just think that a lot of these guards' upside is similar to Darius Garland.
I agree.
And I think you already have Darius Garland at 26 years old on your team. Like,
yeah.
If you're sticking with Garland, Mara or someone in this realm would be the pick for me.
Well, and it also
or trade back if you can.
And it also just, you know, like having a good solid center just makes filling out the rest of your team like a little bit like easier. You know, if you know what's going to be there. Like they did this with Zubac forever because they just had like a very solid guy in the center. So,
and by the way, this isn't me trying to get them back into the play-in so that the Sixers have good picks in 2 years. I just keep the Clippers in the middle. All right, so seventh pick, or sixth pick. I'm sorry. Yeah. The Nets. I mean, we wouldn't take Amen. They're going to take Amen.
Yeah.
Who would you consider here for the sixth pick?
I would just take Mikal Brown Jr. and not think twice. Like,
yep. I think I would do the same thing. It's really just the flavor of guard you like, and I think that they need an upside swing more than anyone else.
I don't care that they spent 4 picks on guards or whatever they did last year. I don't care. Like you have no that this is
you're a blank slate.
Yeah, you know, if two of these guys end up being great, that's a wonderful problem to have. I don't think anyone else has you are 100% an issue, a place where you need upside. Like they don't have the talent the Clippers do. They're starting from scratch. You know what I'm saying? Like they couldn't take like an Adi Mara or a Yaxel or anybody like that. They need like high upside swing guys. And I think Acuff maybe has like a higher ceiling than Mikal Brown Jr., but not really in my opinion. And I just think he's a high upside guy who's left on the board. He can probably be even if he doesn't totally pan out, I think he can still be a pretty good off guard. Like I think he can still be a part of the next good Nets team too.
So Chuck said this, which was that he's like, he definitely has talent and skill, but he might just be Kobe Brown and Kobe White. And I'm like, if he's Kobe Brown, you're fucked. But Kobe White was the player that he used, and I know that Chuck actually, I don't think he meant it as like horrendous slander because he likes Kobe White, but like the funny thing about that, I was like, Kobe White just did something with the Hornets that was in a very small sample of games. But Kobe White just averaged 40 points per 100 possessions during his time with the Hornets when he was finally on a normal team that knew how to use him in the right way. If that's the worst case scenario for a guy, I feel pretty good about that. Like, I feel pretty good taking that swing. And if it doesn't work out, I probably lose my job, but it is what it is.
And like, look, I get it hurts that you wanted those 4 guys, but you ended up here. And like, honestly, I think like 5, 6, 7 is one of the worst spots you can be in this draft. I mean, again, you heard me ask earlier, I would trade back if I were the Nets 100%.
I think that this is one of the few drafts where that's actually on the table too. Like, and like, I would probably trade back and be like, give me Dalen Swain at 12 and like, Merez at 17 or someone at Sturts at 17, whoever, just a good player at 17. But I don't think that that's what they're going to do. I think that they'll take the upside swing. They're saying that they think Amen is the safer upside swing than Mikal Brown. I disagree, but you know, that's just kind of how it goes. I would take Acuff here if I were the Kings.
Interesting. Okay. I don't disagree.
Here's my thing.
Okay.
The players like Acuff exist for the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
Like
that's true. Yeah.
Even if you hit on this pick, you're already going to be worried that you're going to fuck this up. And that you're like 6 years down the line, this guy's going to want out. And like, I'm just like, you fumbled the Halliburton thing so badly. And the Fox thing is more of its own thing. Like he had some success with them. They didn't want to pay him a ton of money. It made sense. It didn't make sense for them to keep doing what they were doing. But the Halliburton thing is where they really went wrong. And the Kings should just always be searching for the next guy that wants to be a lifelong King. And I think Acuff is someone that like, even if he's really good, is not going to have a ton of fans around the NBA because of all of the defensive stuff. And I think that I'm convinced you know who the top 2 offenses in college basketball were this year? Do you know who they were? Because I just said one.
Illinois was one. Yeah. Was it Arkansas?
Number 2 was Arkansas. And now look, both of those teams, they have pros on those teams. Like this is not, especially Arkansas has like, I think NBA players on that team. But Acuff's like ability to get out and push in transition, his shooting and passing, like I do think that he's going to lead successful offenses in the NBA. And one of the ways that you can at least short up, and one of the things that like in the regular season, I don't know if he reaches the Trae Young level because Trae Young is kind of a one-of-one passer and playmaker, but Trae Young, even when they were middling, their defense was always better when Trae Young was on the court because Trae Young led efficient offenses. And Acuff isn't going to turn the ball over a ton. He's probably going to have an efficient scoring profile. He's going to be a decent playmaker, and he's going to get your team transition opportunities, which makes your defense better on the whole, even if he's a terrible defender. So I think this is a fine pick for Sacramento. I actually think that they're probably getting too much shit. Like, I think this is ultimately, these are the kind of players that, like, if you're in a market like Sacramento, like, you just take the productive college player that might want to end up building with you long term and just have a fun team. Like, yeah. If it doesn't work out, whatever. It's just like every other fucking year in the history of your franchise.
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
I'm actually fine with it.
Yeah, it should be fine. Yeah, I agree with you.
So all right. We are at pick 8, which is the Atlanta Hawks.
I would take Kingston Flemings here.
I would take Kingston Flemings, and I think I'm going to surprise you by saying I would also consider Yaxel here.
I don't think that's crazy. I would consider they're a good team. I mean, like I think if you're a good team right now, Yaxel's a great player to have. Yeah. You know, like
fit-wise, Kingston Flemings would be who I would go with too.
Yeah,
I would also take him.
Yeah, I just think that the Hawks are still a little bit. They don't need to like lock in quite as hard as like, for example, the Thunder do. You know what I'm saying? They're still a little amorphous. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I would rather just take a younger guy, and just kind of like figure it out. That's got a little bit more fit and just see one more year. But I think taking Axel would be fine too, though. I wouldn't be like, oh my God. Like,
yeah. And look, if they believe in Wagler as a secondary option, Jalen Johnson hasn't proven exactly to be a number one option so far, but more shooting and creation around him, it's something you consider. I think I probably wouldn't do it.
I would also, again, I'm probably going to be a broken record on this until we take him. I would also consider Steinbach here.
Yeah, I would consider him. I'm probably going to be going with him a little bit later in the lottery, but I would definitely be considering him as high as like, I'd probably be considering him as high as 6 if he's the player I think he could become in the NBA. So
I really like him. I'm gonna whenever I unveil my board, I'm toying with having him quite high.
I had him extremely high. I've dropped him a little bit, but I like the size. He's raw still. Yeah. So there's some stuff that really needs to be ironed out in his game, but the combination of elite skill in the rebounding combined with like for his size, he can get the ball and go in the open court in a way that I thought about it. And I was like, when was the last time someone this size did this as a college prospect?
It's and like I don't love, dude.
I was going to say, I don't remember Lowry marketing as a prospect, but I do remember he did that a little bit his rookie year with the Bulls. And I do think they're kind of similar. Obviously Lowry is a much, much better shooter. But I think he's somewhere in between that mold and like a Sabonis mold. But the difference being that like, I did say this as a way to slander Wagler at one point.
Yeah.
In the Illinois-Washington game, if you go back and watch that, he switched onto him a few times and he blocked him twice. But Steinbach doesn't move horribly for someone his size. Like he's actually pretty agile. And the combination, like you have to be pretty confident in your development staff that you can develop the shot and you can develop some of the weaker points of his game. But there are pieces there for a high upside player, I think.
I really like it. I think he's got a lot of the stuff that translates and there's enough there to like, you can, like you're just talking about the shot and some of the other stuff. Like there's enough there that I think is pretty easily improvable that I would I would consider him for sure. So,
yeah. So who's 9? Is this the Mavericks?
The Mavericks, I believe. Yeah.
Wagler, Lendenberg, Burries. Those are the 3 that I'd probably be considering. Who would you be considering?
We're starting to put there's such a, this is going to sound like sacrilege. Wagler, definitely what I would consider. I would really consider Bennett Sturts here. Like, and I know that that's a massive reach. I know that that's like a massive reach, and you'd probably want to like trade down at that point.
I don't know if there is a trade down.
Yeah, maybe not. But
because I think we've reached unless OKC is obsessed with someone, and even then, it's like this is the Axel trade up if the board breaks this way.
Yeah. I was gonna say they could do the Axel trade up, but I would consider Bennett Sturts here. I would consider Cam Carr here. I would consider like honestly, yeah.
If I'm taking an older prospect, I'm taking Yaxel. If I'm there, because Yaxel, if he hits, which I anticipate he hits, I would consider Swain too. Texas guy, self creation, I like a lot with him. He's got some role player skills.
Swain's the other one I would consider here.
The shot is fucked, but Masai's never cared about that.
Yeah.
Like Masai has always been like, we'll get the toolsy wing and we'll figure everything else out later.
I think him and Flag, you kind of want to lean into Zags. That's a pretty sufficient Zag. Like they would definitely have an identity. Like, I do think we did just talk about how Wagler's like perfect fit is.
I like Wagler's fits, particularly with this team.
Yes.
And the Sturts Wagler thing I've gone back and forth on a lot because I have them close on my board.
Yep.
But the thing with like Sturts is really good right now, and he's just a good basketball player. I'm never opposed to taking good basketball players. He's smaller, and actually I think that I have a little bit less with the athletic concerns than him.
Yeah.
With him, but I do think like he's 4 years older, and like when he was Wagler's age, he was not leading the number one college offense. He was leading a D2 team or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and once again, I'm never opposed to drafting good basketball players. If you think this player is like Ahmed laid out on the Patreon episode, if you think he's Austin Reeves, then take him. Like it's fine with me. I don't really care about that. I do think that Yaxel, the three guys I think are a little bit exception to rule in this first round for the older players are Yaxel, Bennett Sturts, and my guy Joshua Jefferson. But I would not be opposed to taking him as high as 9. Like I would take Swain this high. I would take him this high. I do like the Wagler fit. But yeah, so me, it would come down to probably Wagler. It would probably come down to one of these three guys or Swain.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we're kind of heading towards Wagler, but I think it would be like a massive discussion.
Yeah. And the Messiah in me says they take Yaxel. Just because he's like, I can find guards, even though
we're not doing what they would do.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. So, all right. So let's just go Wagler.
I was gonna say let's go Wagler, because what my brain is thinking is like, I think I would probably take Sturts. I think I would just go crazy. I think I would just go nuts, and
you would have the oh my god from Bill Simmons.
Yeah, I would just do the oh my god if nobody would trade down with me. Like at this point, I think if Flemings is here, that's a godsend for them.
Sure,
like
that's who I would hope falls to them.
Yeah,
I would hope for Flemings, or I would hope for someone in that mold. All right, so now we're at 10, which the Bucks are trading Giannis. They can kind of go whatever direction they want here. LeBaron Philon is someone I would like for them as an upside swing. Dalen Swain.
I was gonna say Dalen Swain was another one. I think Hans Steinbach. We've brought him up a lot. I would consider him here too. How old Steinbach? He's like 20 right now, or a little
like older. 19 or 20. Yeah, he's not that old. Yeah. Burries is almost 21. He's the same age as Swain.
I think Burries is like the absolute last thing they need.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking a safe pick when I don't have my picks the next few years, even though I'm never opposed to drafting safe, good basketball players. But
I think if they're trading Giannis, I think the options here are Philon, Swain, or like Steinbach. And I agree with you. I think Swain's probably the most interesting one for
you. Want to take Swain,
even if he's a little older? Yeah, like
all right, we'll take Swain.
Does that?
I mean, I like Ryan Rollins a lot. So if we're building with Ryan Rollins, I mean, I know you shouldn't be like, oh, we have the 10th pick of the draft. Let's consider what but they might have the 13th pick of this draft too.
Yeah.
Because of the Heat trade. So they might get a pick via the Giannis trade in this draft. They can take 2 swings if that happens. I like the swing on Swain at 10.
Yeah.
I think there's a world where we come back and this is a top 5 player in this draft.
For sure. I really like him. You were on this early. I didn't like check him out for a while, but really good.
I don't really understand what well, he can't shoot. And I'm like, how many fucking guys get drafted way high that can't shoot that are good at a lot of things? Like the self-creation is crazy.
Was it you who called him Najee Marshall? Because I think that's pretty good.
JS in the Discord called him that. And I was like, once again, maybe he is just Najee Marshall, but there's also a chance he's like this year's version of, I don't think he's quite the level of prospect as J-Dub or Coward, because those guys were like already polished shooters by the time they were drafted. But I don't think it's out of this world that he could become that level of player.
Also, getting Najee Marshall at 10 in a draft is pretty good. Like,
it's fine. Yeah, I mean, like, if that's like a sideways scenario for you, you know what I mean? Like that's like oh man, the shot really never came around, but like he's really good at driving and he's like a decent defender and he's pretty good at everything but shooting. That's still I think he's a pro. Like
he's a pro.
He's definitely a pro. So all right. So now we're at the Warriors. You want to take the white boy?
I have no idea, dude.
I mean, they could go win now and take Yaxel.
I mean, I think if Yaxel, well, I don't know.
To be clear, if I'm drafting, I probably would have already taken Yaxel if it's just me.
Yeah, but, I mean, we should probably just take Yaxel at this point.
Take Yaxel?
Yeah, I think he's the first. Yeah.
Okay. So Yaxel and then Steinbach are the two that I'm probably considering.
But the problem is that you're taking Yaxel assuming you're going to continue to compete. And if I were the Warriors, I would not be doing that. I would be getting ready for a long fucking rebuild.
Then let's take Steinbach.
Yeah, let's take Steinbach. Fuck this. Yeah.
Let's stop the slide. A tall white boy who was super productive in college, that fits the mold of the new front office.
Yeah.
I
think he'd be awesome with this team too.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a really good fit for him. Now, did we just deliver Yaxel to the Thunder? Yeah, perhaps. But
well, that's what's happening then.
That's what
That's what we discussed earlier. Yeah. All right. So now we're at pick 13. This is the Heat, right? This is the Heat unless they trade it for Giannis, and I think that they're probably going to end up making the pick on draft night anyway, and then later considering moves. A Corey is someone that you can
I was going to say a Corey is probably one of the guys.
Phylon Burries,
Cam Carr, I feel like is very Heat coded.
We did him last time, I think. What we would do though,
I would probably take Cam Carr. I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
At this point,
I would probably, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I would probably take LeBaron Phylon.
That's a good pick too. I don't have a problem with
that. I do think that they're a little bit, they're fat phobic, but they're also skinny phobic.
Yeah.
In Miami. So I'm wondering if they would prefer to take the bulkier guy and like Burries or Merez or something like that. But
Burries does have the profile of like safe pick who has like no upside and then goes to the Heat and is immediately like a 20 points per game scorer.
Do you want to split the difference and take a Corey?
No, I don't want to put a Corey on.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't want to put a Corey.
What I'm saying is that is the guy that we would be like, of course.
Yeah.
Now he's going to be the next Maxey or whatever for them.
I do like Phylon. Phylon was the other one I was considering because I think if it were me and I were in charge of the Heat, I would probably just take Cam Carr.
Sure.
Because I like just with like kind of the construction that they have, I would just I don't know. Like
let's go Phylon.
Yeah.
Upside swing, post Tyler Hero, guard.
Right.
Once again, more of a bucket than anything else. Multi-level scorer. Size concerns for sure, but
when you trade Tyler Hero in the Giannis trade, he'll be there.
Well, I was gonna say if you're trading Tyler Hero, you're also trading this pick, probably. But, yeah.
What if they don't want it? What if they value star in plain sight Davion Mitchell?
I mean, it's definitely possible. They say the defensive Bruce Thornton needs to stay on this team.
Defensive Bruce Thornton. I cannot wait to talk. I've been telling everyone about Bruce Thornton. I was hanging out with my friend who's a Celtic. I was telling my friend who's a Celtics fan all weekend, and I was just like making him look at Bruce Thornton.
You're like, yes.
What do you think of this?
He's big and old and
he's
unathletic.
The slowest player I've ever seen in my entire life, but he is a bucket.
But look at the shot chart. So all right, now we're at the Hornets. This is Merez, right?
I feel like it's got to be. We've talked about this before.
I feel like we've talked about this. I feel like we have to take him. Yeah, Merez. I'm taking.
I think like Sinak is possible. I think Quinty.
I would not draft. I want to get this out of the way. I would not draft Chris Sinak in the first round. I think he is legitimately terrible at basketball. I don't understand why he's going in the first. Like every time I watch him, I'm like, what am I missing? I know he's good at rebounding, but what else does he do? Like I watched the Iowa State Houston game the other day, and I was like, and now look, Joshua Jefferson's much bigger than him. Iowa State had an incredible offense. Anytime he was in an action, they scored relatively easily. They just went away from Tugler the entire game. And then they were on offense, like he just had nothing in that game. And I was like, I feel like every time I watch him, he's just kind of out there. And I don't understand the pitch is that he's crazy athletic and the anthros, quote unquote, the wingspan and he's just not an NBA player to me. Like he's just so far away from the kind of player that I would draft. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah,
I agree with that. But I think that the Hornets' need at center is so stark and so alarming that I'm just like listing.
I don't even think he's a center. I think he's a power forward. And like I think Merez is a much better prospect.
I agree with that. Let's take Merez. Yeah.
So all right, we're at 15. We are now at a lot. It's back to the Bulls, who got Caleb Wilson. You want to do Cam Carr here? You do Bennett Sturts.
I was thinking about Bennett Sturts too. Who else do we have on our board? Kevin will want to kill me. I do think this is when you kind of start thinking about Nate Ament, where I kind of have less issue with taking Nate Ament.
Please look at Nate Ament and tell me he's not literally like Ben Simmons' younger brother.
Yeah, I mean
It's crazy how much they look alike, but he looks like a child version of Ben Simmons.
I'll say this. I've kind of warmed up to Ament, not as like a top 10 pick, but I have kind of warmed up to him as like an upside swing type guy. If he's like who starts kind of having value around this point in the draft, I think
this is a fine range to take him. I would wait a little bit longer, but I mean, I wouldn't do it as the Bulls.
Really? Who would you rather take him with? I don't want him on a good team.
I don't think he's good. I really don't. Like once again, it will always be tantalizing to take the big wing who theoretically can shoot, who can handle the ball,
giving Kevin another
help defense. Yeah. Once again, and like, look, he at least has some NBA skills that probably will turn him into a 10-year pro.
Yeah.
But he's just so far. I thought he should have went back to college, to be honest with you. Like,
probably.
I mean, but the intel with him is that he's like a super hard worker, really good dude. And that's probably combined with like the idea of what he can be is going to make a team like the Nets or someone else fall in love with him. I'm just like, once again, my weak spot in the draft every year is these theoretical wings and bigs.
Yeah.
That everyone else, like they hit like 1 out of every 5 times. And when they hit, I look like an idiot, but I'm fine looking like an idiot.
Yeah. Actually, no, I forgot a Corey's on the board. We'd take a Corey.
I would take a Corey here.
Yeah.
I would take a Corey.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit concerned about the playmaking, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think it's like great, but like that Stanford team really sucked. And like the self-creation is out of this world. He has elite traits as a shot maker and a rim pressure demon. And yeah, I mean, he is the closest thing I think I've seen to Maxey since Maxey coming out. Yeah. And it was like, if Maxey got put on his own team, what he could have looked like in college, instead of having to fit in with that Kentucky team.
Yeah.
So no, I agree. I would take him there. Not even a question. Cause I just want to take upside swings if I'm the Bulls. Like, I don't want to take nice players who are going to be like Cam Carr and Burries are going to be really good. I don't think they have the upside of someone like a Corey. If everything works out. So now we are at the Grizzlies for their second pick, who I think they would have loved to get. I think Sturts is a lock.
Yeah, I was gonna say if Sturts is on the board, they would definitely take Sturts.
And I also would consider him. Like I would take him, I think.
I was just gonna say I'm taking him or Cam Carr if it's me.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Although we did draft AJ earlier. They have Ty Jerome. I think it's Sturts. But Cam Carr is definitely someone you should consider here because you're now getting into like we need role players around our stars territory.
Yeah.
So would you rather you think we go Cam Carr or Sturts here?
They're both older in this draft, right? Because I think Cam Carr's like 20 and a half or 21 or something like that.
Cam Carr is about to be 21. Sturts is 22.
Yeah. So they're both like a little bit older.
This is such a Grizzlies pick, and I genuinely
I just think Bennett Sturts, like I know for a fact Bennett Sturts is like 10 on their board. Like 100%. So
we are doing what we want to do, but I agree.
Yeah.
I think it should be Sturts here.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, I do just want to point out, like, I like Cam Carr and Braden Burries. I'm just thinking for these teams in general, I would be aiming a little bit higher. Now we're at the Thunder, who don't need to aim higher. They could get Carr or Burries.
They would love Carr. I mean, I
think they'd love both of these guys.
Actually, they would like Burries too.
I think Burries, the only reason I think they would like Burries a little bit more is because they've realized that, like, if you want to talk about the different, and now these are different prospects, but if you want to talk about the difference between Cam Carr's like an Isaiah Joe with like jump out the gym athleticism.
Yeah, I was gonna say Burries is a little more solid.
He's like McCain, like he's like built like a tank. Yeah. And I do wonder, they love these kind of tweener guys that are like 6'4", 6'5", strong, like the Cason Wallaces, the Alex Carusos.
They're trading Cason Wallace for Giannis, so like,
they already got Yaxel, so I think they would take Braden Burries here. So, and I would also take Braden Burries, I think.
Yeah.
Sure. So then we have up next after this, we have the Hornets again. God damn it. All these double picks.
Yeah.
I will say, I do think that they are, do we just stop the slide for Cam Carr? Cause I think I'm a little bit higher on Cam Carr.
I would pick, if it were me, I would just take Cam Carr here. Cause thank my lucky
you already
stars.
got your Morez Johnson pick earlier.
Yeah.
Cam
I also
Carr,
don't know what else what do they have of need? Like, just take, they're in a pretty, once they get their center, they're pretty much in best player available.
Sure. I think it's, I know they have a ton of guards, but the way that Charles Lee works with these, by the way, a fantastic slander in the Discord the other day. We were talking about, I brought up the Kobe White 40 points per 100 possessions with the Hornets thing.
Yeah.
And KJ said that they're the like Texas Tech air raid style offense, but in the NBA, like they inflate the stats is essentially what he was trying to, because he was trying to slander Khan, because he's obviously very pro VJ, and he called Khan the Babylon Bees #1 prospect in the draft last year. By the way, we do still have to do the Babylon. I think Alan Graves might be the front runner for the Babylon Bees #1 prospect this year, just based on the fact that his wife follows some people on Instagram. But anyway,
I didn't know that. I didn't know Alan Graves is a
anytime that these guys co-Pete Alan Graves, anytime they're talking about Jesus as much as they do, I'm like, let's check the Instagram follows, and lo and behold, 9 times out of 10 you're going to find some interesting people.
This isn't baseball and this isn't football.
No.
In the NFL, it's negative. It's bad. It's bad to be a man of the cloth in the
NBA.
NBA, yeah. This is welcome to Sodom and Gomorrah. You've got to be gay and Fujoing out if you want to succeed in the NBA. Sorry, take that shit back to football.
Woke 3.0, Wemby versus Mamdani.
Castle and Harper were gonna kiss during Game 7, and that's why they won.
Steph Curry, the second most popular player on the planet right now that's active, maybe third. I don't know. Wemby might be getting up there, but I think it's still LeBron and Steph.
It's Steph. Yeah.
Still LeBron and Steph, right?
Yep.
He's signing with a Chinese shoe brand, Chinese Century coming up.
Yeah.
Communism taking over. By the ball Chinese Century shirt that I'm wearing right now, by the way.
Yes, bye.
And that is the level that you need to succeed at the NBA level right now. So just keep that in mind when you're drafting. You have to keep these things in mind. Khan fucking sucked in the play-in because he followed Charlie Kirk on Instagram.
Yeah.
These are facts.
He Fujoed out. Like he didn't. No, I'm gonna save that. This isn't a Patreon episode, right?
No, this is a main feed. By the way, the
I'll put that one in the Discord later.
little bonus for you.
A little bonus for the Discord hoggies.
By the way, I don't know if I can't remember if But someone did point out, I think, that he did unfollow him, and I'm not sure if it was after our clip blew up, but I do think that we have influence over this league a little bit.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying that I'm the reason Bam Adebayo is a registered Democrat, but I'm
definitely in the top 3 reasons for that.
I'm in the top 3 reasons, like I'm somewhere.
So all right. So we just took, so now we're at the Raptors, right? Pick 19.
We are at Pitt. They do not get Bennett Sturts, unfortunately.
They don't get really any guards. They've all gone.
No, they're all gone.
Yeah. All my guards gone.
This is actually kind of tough for them.
Christian Anderson, if you want to go guard. If I'm doing best player available,
maybe they take. Are you thinking Quadians? Like,
no, I don't think they're going to take another non-shooter. I think they're just like at the point where they're like, we're building around Colin Murray Boyles and Scotty Barnes. We cannot take another non-shooter. I know Scotty can shoot a little bit now, but like if I'm building with those two in mind, by the way, we know Dean on draft works for them, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Alan Graves on the board.
I saw some alarming shit with his like numbers. Like there was something weird about his numbers that like,
yeah. So it's funny because this is where the real, I said this earlier, speaking of Dean Oliver, the originator of one of these metrics. I can't remember. He worked for the Washington Wizards for a year. I called him the master splinter of calculator rats.
Yeah.
In that he was like the OG in the 90s doing stuff with analytics.
Yeah.
And he was posting earlier about how some of the impact metrics like Rap'em and the ESPN net points analytics, they don't like Graves's defense as much as the steal and block numbers would suggest, right? Like because he fouls a lot, because he gambles and he takes risks, the defense was actually worse with him on the court. And it's funny because I've actually come around on the idea of him as more of like you might like this, because when we described him on the Patreon episode with Ahmed, and I was like, I wouldn't hate the Sixers drafting him at 22. I don't think he has the upside that some of these other guys do, but I do think that he's like a rotation player in the NBA.
Yeah.
I'm more in the central, like the neutral part of the argument. And someone said the way that you guys described him made him sound like Grant Williams. And I was like, it's somewhere in that like Grant Williams, Robert Covington, style guy. And like in 2026, is that guy a starter? I don't know. Like the passing stuff is like, he shows some decent passing, like, but Grant was a pretty good passer in college too.
Yeah.
Rebounding too. Grant was a demon rebounder in college. A lot of the analytical production, the box score stuff was the same with Grant. And he's just kind of a bench 4. Like he's just a guy. But when you're drafting this late, like those are the kind of players that you generally get when you're drafting this late. Like even the hits are like more minor hits than, the out of this world style stuff. So if I'm them, like if it's me, I'm probably not taking, honestly, Amen is not horrible for them at this point.
I was going to say, I guess
he can shoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's also in a role where he's not like the guy. Like they have Scotty, they have other creators on this team.
Let's take Nate Amen. Yeah, I think that's fine. That's a good spot for him.
Yeah.
Like
we'll probably get death threats from Raptors fans for this, but big wing who can shoot. 19th pick of the draft.
Pretty good for Amen. Like I want to jump off a bridge if it's 6, but like a lot of these guys, like we've gone down a tier again. I think like we picked a lot of the guys that I really like in this draft. So now we're stuck with like mystery box guys like Kareem Lopez or some of taking swings. Now there's like a little bit of flavor to everybody. Like I'm probably going to be a little higher on Zuby than some people.
Sure, I like Zuby.
Yeah.
But I wish I knew more about Kareem Lopez.
I don't think there's anything to know until he steps on an NBA floor. I think these guys are just kind of mystery. But I know guys are trying to figure out the international guy thing. That is just the biggest fucking crapshoot in the world, unless it's someone like Luka to me. Like,
all right, it's the Spurs now up on the board.
I mean, they might take Kareem Lopez.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, are they going back to their old ways? Because Wemby's really the only international guy they've drafted recently. They've actually drafted like heavily American, which is very funny.
I honestly, though, if I were them, I would take acquaintance here. like, and just go full upside
Oh
swing.
my God.
Why the fuck
Oh
not?
my God. Dude, Quaintance. I mean, if there's ever a way you can play Quaintance and Wemby again, like on this court, no one will ever score.
I would kind of do that, man. Like, is Luke Cornett a massive part of your plans? Like,
who gives a shit? Take Quaintance.
Yeah.
This is the kind of swing that just like takes them from like, if it works, holy fucking shit, look out. Like, everyone will crash out if this happens on draft night. Yeah. It's a late first. I tend to agree with the general idea there. So now that means that this is where I would take Christian Anderson, I think. If I were
he's one of the guys I'm really out on. Is this the Pistons though?
Yeah.
I do think he makes some sense for the Pistons. Like,
so they need a secondary like ball handler. And the only thing is like, and maybe people will kill me for this because they're just higher on Christian Anderson than I am.
Yeah.
I don't see a massive difference between him and Marcus Sasser in the NBA.
I don't either. But I know that's coming from me.
Marcus Sasser doesn't play for them.
Yeah.
I think he probably should play a little bit for them. Just like I know he did at times in the playoffs because they needed him.
I'll admit this. I thought I did think Christian Anderson was shooting like 36% from three. I didn't realize he was up to 41.
No, he's an incredible shooter. He's a great shooter, good ball handler, pick and roll's great.
I watched him and he just seemed like kind of like your typical small and efficient guard. But his assist turnover is pretty better than I thought it was going to be.
I think he would be a good secondary creation fit with them. Another guy I would consider here for secondary creation would be Malik Thomas from Arkansas, even though I'm not crazy about him. This is the range where I'm starting to think about that kind of stuff.
I would take Christian Anderson here. I didn't realize his shooting was that good. Like,
he's a really good shooter. That's like by far his best skill. Good playmaker, really good 3-point shooter.
I guess I must have just watched him like be cold because he just looked like he looked like bad Jeremiah Fears in all the games I was watching. So like,
no, I don't think he's terrible. I just think he's really small, and that's something that they might be able to cover up for in a way that not a lot of other teams. All right, so now the Sixers are on the board. I have masterfully gamed this so that my guy Joshua Jefferson's on the board.
I think that's
and also
fine,
I like Terrace Reed. I like Alan Graves at this range of the draft.
I take Jefferson too. I think I would. That would be my pick here. Graves. Like,
now I'm terrified because if we take Jefferson and he sucks, I'm gonna get shit for the rest of my life from Sixers fans because I just watch him and I'm like, I get that the scoring stuff and the athleticism is scary. This guy is a basketball genius. He's 6'9". His family is offensive linemen in the NFL. Yeah. And he is going to be like, I think he's going to get even stronger. And if he works, he's exactly what I want with Maxey and VJ. Like someone who can run dribble handoffs with them. I actually, the more I watch him, I'm once again, someone made fun of me. They're like, you're going to watch so much Joshua Jefferson. You're going to end up having him 500 board by the end of the cycle. Because I've just watched a bunch of Iowa State games because they always play like Houston and Iowa and these other teams. And I'm also trying to do a measuring stick where I'm like, if I'm watching, I want them to play against the best teams. I don't want to watch them against the shitty teams. And to be fair, Jefferson did struggle to score against the better teams, but the basketball genius stuff like really pops with him on both ends of the court. And I'm taking a bet on him at 22 in the draft of being like a potential high level role player. That I don't know if he's a playoff level role player, but we'll see. So, all right, now we're at 23. So we have a few guys that probably will go a little bit higher in the draft. Like I would imagine Alan Graves goes a little bit higher. Senek might even go a little bit higher. I'm praying a team likes him. This is the Hawks, who if one of the guards were on the board, we would have drafted one of the guards. Although we did take Flemings earlier, so they could take someone else here.
Yeah, I think who was I just looking at for them?
Vasir, Graves.
I was gonna say I think Graves would probably be a pick for them here. I think they would consider Lopez too, because I think like I don't think they're considering Ricochet part of the future anymore. So
yeah, I mean they're kind of they're a good team, but they're not everything's like fully set in place for them. So they can kind of go whatever.
They can absolutely be best player available team. Like,
especially this late in the first, like, So all right, let's go. Who do we think they land on here?
I'm inclined to think Graves just because like
okay,
he's kind of ready to play and like they don't
Sure.
have like he's like a a different type. You have Jalen Johnson as your forward, but then like he's like a a different flavor.
I think Graves is going to be able to shoot. The stuff that has been concerning that people have pointed out is that like he played the 4. It's actually kind of similar to Joshua Jefferson, where he played the 4 and the 5, but his like rim protection defense stuff was bad when he played at the 5, and then he was like he's not like the most mobile defender as a 4. It's the inverse with Jefferson, where Jefferson is not good at all on the perimeter, really. But he's really good with health defense and great with rim protection. So Graves more of a gambler. I definitely could see them taking him at 23 though. At this late, they do seem to be a little bit analytics pilled, that front office. It feels like I don't really know their decision making totally, but I could absolutely see that, and I think that's what I would take. So all right, now we are at pick 25, the Lakers. I think this is where I would take Kobe Pete.
I would probably take Evans here, to be totally honest. I'm pretty out on Kobe Pete.
They need wings and forwards so badly. The thing is that they're a team that, first off, if I were running the Lakers, I would seriously consider trading this pick. Just because I don't love anyone in this range. Once all of the guys that we do like are off the board.
Yeah.
If Senec's gonna work with anyone, it's probably Luka.
Yeah.
So I think Isaiah Evans is not good. I really don't get Isaiah Evans.
Okay.
I actually am like, he's another guy where I'm just like, he's a position locked number 2 probably because of his weight.
Yeah.
He weighs 185 pounds. Like, he's not playing the 3 in the NBA.
He does get a shitload of 3 points up, but like his rebounding shit is really bad.
His rebounding is bad. He's not a playmaker. He's going to be at the 2 spot. Like, he's a poor man's Cameron Carr to me. And I like Cameron Carr.
I like I
like Cam Carr, and maybe Evans just becomes a crazy shooter and he's Isaiah Joe. Yeah. But I don't think his handle's particularly good. I really don't get why he stayed in the draft. Like, I really thought he should have went back to college and been a 4-year guy.
Maybe. I also don't have a ton of guys here that I don't know.
He was a high prospect. He went to Duke. He has the pedigree.
I
would take Kobe Pete over him, but yeah.
Okay. Would you? What about Caravan?
I mean, that's a plug and play role player. If I'm going with one of these guard size guy that I'm not like crazy about, like I would take Malik Thomas over Isaiah.
Well, we need Malik Thomas to get to the Celtics, so we're not taking him right now.
All right, you let me game it for Jefferson. I'm
kidding. We can do that. No, the other one,
Zuby.
Or Kareem Lopez.
Yeah, I guess at this point, fuck it. I don't know much about Kareem Lopez, but they need wings.
But he's a wing. I don't know, and like,
yeah, sure, why not? This is the Knicks. We've been doing it for the fucking Lakers. The Knicks. All right, well, do they take Kareem Lopez then? He's 17 on No Ceilings board. I don't want to add. I think we have to take it because I clicked on him.
Oh, we can't go back?
No, Kareem Lopez is a Knick. Congratulations.
Okay, all right. We blew the pick.
This is definitely what we would do.
Yeah.
Minnesota Vikings thing. I don't think I can go back or I ruin the whole draft.
We called that. We already called we called Malik Thomas's family, and he's just sitting there while Kobe Pete walks up to the
So now we're at the Lakers.
All right. Well, now they take Kobe Pete.
All right, they're taking Kobe Pete then. So once again, I think Kobe Pete. I just think the shot is kind of broken, and that's scary. But I think he needs to play with a Luka or a Jokic or a Cade or someone that is just like spoon feeding him offense. And I really do think he's just like kind of like a diet Eric Gordon. But that works on the Lakers. They're desperate for wing and forward talent. Like that's the direction I would go in, I think. Okay, so now we're at the Nuggets. Kobe Pete would have been nice for them. Kareem Lopez would have been nice for them. Allen Graves would have been nice for them. They all just went.
Zuby.
I like Zuby's. It's very funny because I started higher on Zuby than most people.
Mm-hmm.
I've come down a little bit just because I'm worried about the offense. But if you're getting drafted to a team with Jokic and you're playing the 4, yeah, I mean, I don't think Zuby's the greatest athlete, but he's long and he's a pretty good athlete, and I think he's going to be a demon defender. And this is the kind of guy that would work with Jokic, I think. So I think Zuby could be a good pick here.
Let's take Zuby. Fuck it.
All right,
we both like Zuby.
Yeah. Let's go Zuby. And then now we're at the Celtics.
Yeah, we're taking Malik Thomas. Let's go.
The Discord's going to hate me for this one. They love Malik Thomas. I'm not as big on Malik Thomas, but he would probably be good if we went to the Celtics.
I like him for us. Yeah, I'm not like blown away by him.
The fit is good for what you guys need right now.
I honestly wouldn't. I know you just went on your screed against Isaiah Evans. I actually wouldn't hate Isaiah Evans for us either, to be totally honest. Like, because I think he's got like opposite strengths of a lot of the guys on our roster.
Maybe I'm just selling Isaiah Evans' defense short, but people talk about him like he's some lockup defender, and I'm like, he's fine. Like, I'm just like, I don't know. To me, I just don't really see it with Isaiah Evans.
I'm gonna plant my flag right now. This pick will be Alex Caravan. That is the most like. There's no way this pick isn't. Alex
That's Brad recently has been taking the white guy who can the Baylor Shireman of this draft, basically. Yeah. He is a winner though. Also, SH would love that pick. He loves Caravan. 4-year college player. Yeah. Honestly, I know you guys. If I were drafting for you guys, I mean, I probably would have taken Terrace Reed here.
Really?
I like Terrace Reed. Like, I think he's probably just a good backup, but if you need a big, like, he's extremely athletic. He's long as shit. I just like guys that are extremely good college basketball players.
He's the passer, right? Like he's like passing bigs.
Let's just put it like this. He's gotten much better at passing. His passing was on display at UConn. He was terrible early in his career when he was at Michigan, but that team was like a mess. That was before they brought in Dusty May. That was when they had like Juwan Howard, and that team was just. But like the thing that does scare me a little bit is that he really didn't pop until he went to UConn. UConn can kind of, Hurley's an incredible coach. That does scare me a little bit, but I will say I definitely think Terrace Reed is an NBA like rotation big, and I think at this point in the draft I'd be happy to get one.
We need to keep Amari Williams's minutes open.
I was going to ask you if you think that Amari Williams can play next year, because
I do.
I think he's better than Amari Williams, but also I know Amari Williams was really good for you guys in the G League this year.
I think I really like Amari Williams. I'm still pretty high on him. Like, I liked him in the draft last year. I don't think Terrace Reed is going to be better than like Kada and like some of these other guys. And I just think we have such a need at guard like now, that I would rather, we have a need at big, but our need at big is for like a good player. Like we need like
you wanted like
Hartenstein. Yeah, or something like that. Like it's got to be someone who's demonstrably better than Kada for it to like mean anything.
Sure.
And I don't know if you go hunting for that guy at the end of the first round.
By the way, if you're
getting ready for the Peyton Pritchard being included in some trade somewhere,
because he's going to want a lot of money and probably a bigger role if you don't trade Jaylen Brown.
Right.
Amari Allen and Tunde are both out of this draft for anyone who's watching and confused on why we're not even talking about them. So is Tyler Tanner. So is Billy Richmond, but they haven't updated the no ceilings draft board on Fanspo. So just to real quick here, the last 3 picks of the first round, we have Malik Thomas we just took Malik Thomas for the Celtics. Best players available for the Timberwolves. Is this the range where you're like, just take Senek?
I would consider Senek earlier, not for the Timberwolves though.
No, I mean they just took Baron J last year. They do
honestly,
not have
none of these guys. They would probably he'd probably slide to the second round at this point. I wouldn't take him for any of the teams.
Yeah.
It's Cavs, it's Wolves, Cavs, Mavericks, I think. So
in general, I think Minnesota is pretty athleticism pilled. So Senek would probably be someone that we should consider. Man, this is a tough range though.
I don't know.
we got all the guys we like.
Now we're like
now I'm going deep into the draft. I'm like, take Bruce Thornton. Just go fucking.
That kind of.
It's what we would do. It was what we would do.
Face,
55 on their board. Hold on. Let me see the other picks left in the first round here. The Cavs will not be taking him. Spoiler alert, because they two of their best
what
players are
about Braden Smith? He does love really tiny shitty guards. Like,
if this is what we're doing,
no, if it's what we're doing, no, yeah, you're right.
I'm taking Bruce. I'm taking Bruce.
Yeah, they'll take Bruce Thornton. Fuck it.
Fuck
like,
it.
I don't, yeah,
he's a first round pick to me. Even if he sucks, he's a first round pick in my heart. No. I'm sorry, you're not.
He doesn't have a picture. He doesn't have a picture.
He has a little one over here, but not a full on. No ceilings need to respect our guy Bruce Thornton. Is he small and unathletic? Yes, but he's also
he's a bucket and a problem.
He shoots 60% from floater range, 70% around the rim, 40% 3-point shooter. What is there not to love? 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio.
He does kind of have the slow-mo thing too, where like.
That's why I love Joshua Jefferson. Those are going to be the guys that kill me in this draft because they're going to suck, and I'm going to be like, well, they're big and smart, and
what if they're so slow it comes back around like it did for Kyle Anderson and no one else ever in the NBA?
What if we drafted for the exception and not the rule?
The rule, yeah. How could this ever backfire on us?
The Cavs and the Mavericks are the last two picks here.
I think the Cavs are a caravan team. I think you'd be great for them, to be totally honest. At 29.
The Dean Wade replacement, Alex Caravan, when they lose him in free agency.
Yeah, I think he'd be better than
the
we were just talking about how they don't really have a true three, like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not crazy about Caravan, but he'll probably be an NBA player. Yeah, and at this point of the draft, like, unless you think Isaiah Evans really fills out, you're not. If we're keeping Mobley and Allen, Chris Sanek might just be best player swing. All right, fuck it. Let's go Caravan.
Yeah. Would you take Sanek for the Mavs considering everything?
I mean, that is such a Masai pick.
It is such a Masai pick.
If it's at 30,
ourselves though.
If it's at 30, I don't like any of these other guys.
Enough. I was gonna say, and what's his name has been hurt enough. Derek Williams has been hurt enough that like
Derek Lively.
What did I say? Derek Williams.
Derek Williams, the second pick in the 2011 draft. Yes,
I loved him. I was so Derek Williams pilled that draft. He was my number one.
So all right, we'll take Chris Sanek once again. This is Masai. Masai draft. We're meeting with Masai, and he's saying, "What if he can shoot?"
God, fuck! I hate that pick with Cooper Flag. I'm realizing.
But he's I think Senek's going to be a 4 in the NBA. I don't think he's a 5. And I'm probably putting Flag at the 3, to be honest with you. And earlier in this draft, we got Wagler for them. So they walk away with Wagler and Senek.
I guess. Ugh. I don't know who else I would take, though.
I was going to say, you got to give me an alternative here. Because I'm looking at the rest of the board, and I'm like, I'm sure there will be many comments about how we should have taken Isaiah Evans or someone like that, but there's no one I'm crazy about.
Henry Visser.
That's the other guy that if you want to make a bet on a stretch big, although I don't know, I think he's kind of a fake shooter. I think I don't hate his inside the arc stuff. I don't
3 a game.
He shot 40%, but he barely took any threes.
It's like zero rim protection. He could be like, if you do him with Derek Lively, though, they do kind of offset each other. I do kind of like that you have guys who like lean into each other.
All right. Well, one of those two guys. If the board breaks this way,
I guess we already took
Sanek. Yeah. I clicked on this, so unfortunately this is what we have to do.
This is what we took.
So there we go. This is our final board. We have Cam Boozer, Darren Peterson, AJ DeBounce, Caleb Wilson, Adai Mara, Mikal Brown, Darius Acuff, Kingston Flemings, Keaton Wagler, Dalen Swain, Hannes Steinbach, Yaxel Lundenberg, Phylon Morez. That's our lottery. And then the rest you can go look at. It's just Buko Corey. And then I got my guy, Joshua Jefferson, who, if this happens, all the pressure is on me for the Sixers.
Yeah, let's go.
Because everyone will have my head. If he is truly what Chuck said and he is Wayne Janai Broom, I will have egg on my face for the rest of my life. But I trust the process, guys. Lottery value return, Joshua Jefferson.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah.
Amazing.
By the way, there is one draft model. I just wanted to point this out. The draft model that I've been I really like is the Harlan draft model, which if I'll post the link in the description to this, but it's actually much higher on Isaiah Evans than I am. It had him like 16.
Okay.
So maybe I'm wrong about Isaiah Evans. There are people out
I
there.
like him. I would probably take him with the Celtics pick too. I agree with you that he is probably a 2 though. Like, and that's just kind of tough.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's listed as a 3, but I'm like, he's 186 pounds. Like,
he's also like 6'6" with like not great length, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. There are people that like him though. Chuck likes him. I know a few people that really like him, and his metrics are off the charts. But yeah, no, just not my cup of tea necessarily.
Just if you like can't rebound like at all, that's just kind of bad to me. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't.
I feel like it's at a premium nowadays.
Yeah,
I feel like the rebounding. That's one of the reasons why I'm like, Keaton Wagler, 2 offensive rebounds a game.
Yeah,
it's not nothing for a guard.
He's a good player. I just like the 5. I don't know. Like, just like where he's being taken. I think he needs to be closer to the end of the lottery than like the top of it. You know,
yeah,
like,
that's why I have him at the end of my lottery now. I've chickened out on fully fading him, but all right. Thank you for watching. We didn't get to 2:30 this time. See, I told you I'd get you out of here very early, Sam.
We love talking draft. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, we'll be back talking draft later in the week.
Let's go.
So, sign up for the Patreon. Peace.